cult of personality. I know your anger, I know your dreams. I've been anything you wanna be. Oh, I'm the cult of personality.
Hello, welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Voice of Ocala. I'm Buddy Martin, glad to be with you on this kind of toasty day, as we are every day from 3 to 6 right here on the Voice of Ocala. Today on the program, first of all, starting with the good news that we appear to have a deal with our government. We might be able to stay and get back in business. We'll talk about that in just a minute. As you probably know by now, that the Senate has said they will put together a bill and send it back to the House. They expected approval, but you know the government. You never can be sure. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Also on the program today, Mark Emery, one of our favorite guys. He's just back from Alaska about a month ago. Just won an Emmy, fresh off his Emmy, and of course a guy, man about town, a guy who has done so much for this community, and an absolutely sensational videographer and storyteller and what have you, will be joining us in studio at 4 o'clock. We've got a lot to catch up with on Mark, including some information that we'll get from him about the Silver Springs International Film Festival, which is coming up soon, and he'll be a part of that. So Mark will be along. In sports today, the selection committee process still under fire. The group that has been put together, loosely I should say, but put together to really seed the tournaments for football next year in college football has been announced. And one guy in particular that's not real happy is the guy who heads up an organization called the Legends, and they're former coaches. Andy Curtin out of Nashville will join us at 5:15 to give us his views about what other people might have been chosen. I know this is a controversial process, and that whoever we get is going to be probably not going to be popular with somebody. By the same token, there seems to be some reasoning lacking in this whole process, and we'll get Andy's view of that and what he thinks could have happened and who might the Legends have offered or did offer to the group to be able to help pick that those teams are going to play in that playoff system next year in college football. So that's coming up. Last night, I followed up on a conversation we had on this program with Dave Pingalore from Local 6, where he spoke rather harshly, I should say. Well, let's just say vehemently. He thinks it's time to consider the possibility of maybe Will Muschamp not getting it done in Gainesville, according to his sources. I think we've got that bite. We'll play it again. We'll talk about that during the sports hour as well. Also, baseball, we'll catch up on that. Lots of things happening today in sports. So with that, I welcome in my broadcast team here, Tom Schmitz and JJ LaSalva. And guys, this is a day to be out on the beach today. It's so hot out there today.
You know, it's hot now, but boy, this morning when I woke up about 7:30, 7:45 with all the windows in the house open, we'll check the little thermostat in the house, and it was 63 degrees inside the house. I was real happy. I hadn't run the air conditioner in my house now for 3 days. I'm making money, and the electric company's not happy.
There you go. All right, so continuing on, do we have a deal? That's the question we're going to find out. Is America going to be open for business before the deadline? We'll catch up on that in just a minute. I'll get Tom to give us a little background from the news wires. Also, congratulations to Brent Molliver, who won the city council seat, taking over the seat from Susie Heinbachel in the election yesterday. And Jay Musley retained his council seat. And the referendum questions that were controversial were not voted in. So that's basically the result of the election. I think all the polls showed Molliver leading going up to the finals, and he was able to sustain that by he had 1,873 more votes, which is quite a few votes when you consider there are not that many to start with. And Susie Heinbachel got 1,463. So he had 56%. Susie had 44%. And so the new city council member from District 1 representing the at-large city is Brent Molliver. So congratulations to Brent for going there. Also on the program today, more on fake or factoid. We'll see whether or not the guys can recoup their reputation yesterday. Angie Lewis taunting both Tom and JJ on Facebook about how she blitzed both of them. This is her words. It's basically, I just burn them both. So, Angie pretty proud she's able to take that one. So you guys got some making up to do. I don't know. We'll see how well they do today. So keep your dial set right here for all that drama as well.
JJ is still holding fast to his belief that you made it easier for Angie.
Well, it would seem to me, again, the logic, if I made it easier for Angie,
would be
why would it be
easier for
easier for
us
the
too.
two of you?
Well,
I don't
mean-
quite follow that, but anyway.
The 10 trues was a little.
Well, it must not have been. You and I didn't get them.
No, and I warned you several times. I'm going to come in here one day with all falses, all truths, and I did it yesterday. Angie just happened to be the one who had all them all right. So there you go. You can have sour grapes if you want to. The
we all
fact
figured
is,
out they were true by about the seventh one. We all figured
some
it out.
did and some didn't. But the fact is, I didn't even realize she got them all until you told me she was up 8-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can. I'm just saying, it's no disgrace to lose to an intelligent woman. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So. All right.
Look, I got my rear end kicked up by a bunch of people yesterday with trivia, so I'm the last one to
there you go.
say anything.
There you go.
I gave the house away yesterday, and then Angie came in and added salt to the wound.
There you go. Let's talk about, speaking of the House, let's see if the House is going to be able to take this bill from the Senate and what they will do. This process is a little bit confusing. What do you have on background there on this story?
Well, the Senate has announced plans that it would fund federal agencies at the current spending levels through January 15th, extend the nation's borrowing authority through February 7th. Also, a negotiating committee would separately be charged with devising plans for longer-term fiscal solutions. This is a compromise that was reached on the Senate floor. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell said he was confident the deal would end the budget stalemate on Wednesday. Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, said it will provide our economy with the stability it desperately needs. Now, if you remember back recently, there was a stalemate in the Senate, and there was a filibuster that was going on in the Senate by Senator Ted Cruz. He says he won't vote for this bill, but because he was the one that was pushing, trying to get Obamacare not funded or the Affordable Care Act. He won't vote for the bill on the Senate floor, but he won't stand in the way of it being passed. So it looks like it's going to pass the Senate floor. They'll have a vote either later this afternoon or early evening. Then it goes to the House, and it looks like there's enough all the Democrats, and there's enough Republicans who are getting pressure from their home constituents to end this lockdown in the government that it's going to pass the House too. So, and one of the biggest gains it gets, buddy, is the Republicans were trying to get it to where the Treasury Department wouldn't have the ability to take emergency measures if we're going to default on our loans and everything. Well, they didn't get that. So that's a big deal because now that helps with some debt relief. The Treasury has some emergency measures it can do to help with the debt ceiling and everything. So it looks like the Democrats aren't real happy with this. The Republicans are even less happy with it. So isn't that the definition of compromise when neither side is happy?
I guess, and you throw in the American people. So nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy.
So we did a great job on that. And by the way, they're only going to talk about funding the government through January 15th.
Yeah, they're not talking about this funding the government. It's only through
and raising the debt ceiling through February 7th. So
they're
we're
just trying to get us through the Christmas holiday.
We're going to go through this again. What this sounds like to me is what we used to call layaway, government by layaway. Let's have a layaway. I'll give you $2 down and give you $2 a week, and we'll talk about it again in 60 days. So I don't get it. If the Congress is unhappy and the White House is unhappy, although President Obama today apparently saying he was happy. He said he applauded Reid and McConnell for working together and forging what they call a compromise
to open the government for another 3 months.
Isn't that great? You have to compliment somebody for opening the government. I don't quite get that.
Thanks for doing your job for the next 90 days.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's kind of like, you remember Chris Rock, the comedian. He said he used to get aggravated when guys would walk into parties and pound their chest and said, "I paid my light bill today," and he was like, "You're supposed to pay your light bill.
Exactly.
Why do you want?" Kudos for that. And that's what it sounds like Obama's doing. Hey, we're going to get the government open back up. Pat us on the back.
Here's my question. In reading all these stories, where is John Boehner?
He says he'll take whatever plan the Senate sends.
Yeah, but here's my question. Where is he? Because right now, it looks to me like he's an invisible man, and the question on the floor is, are they going to dump him?
Well,
another Speaker of the House, because he didn't factor in this at all.
He's in a fight for his life. He's in his fight for his political life as Speaker of the House because the Tea Party faction wants him out.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about a really sad yet heroic effort situation with a dog that was staked out in front of a SPC, I guess it was, site over the weekend sometime. And then when the people opened up the office on Monday morning, just early, they found this poodle chained to a stake with a leg missing. They rescued the poodle. And I guess the poodle's been operated on, but who would do something like that to a poor little animal? The guy who wrote that story is Keith Chartrand. He joins us here in about 10 minutes to tell us about that story. And talk about a heart-rending story. You really have to think, boy, this dog will be one that will be in the news a lot the next couple of days, without question, because it's a one-legged poodle now. They named it Duncan Molly. Duncan Molly's been spared, and we'll talk more about that coming up with Keith Chartrand. Also, the case of the bumbling bandit. Boy, oh boy, this is in my neighborhood. Apparently, this guy broke in and just made a mess out of trying to rob a gas station. We'll tell you about that after the break and tell you about who the bumbling bandit is. All coming your way right here. In addition to that, the mayor will be on with us at about 3:30. So coming your way right here on the program called The Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
This reprise of Ask the Cops is proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. This is Ocala's Chief of Police, Greg Graham, answering one caller's question.
How often are the officers required to go to the firing range to keep their shooting skills up to par?
Great question. By FDLE rules, they're supposed to go once a year. We actually do, the police department does 2 qualifications a year, and then throughout the year we have practice days and sessions with them. But I tell you, the problem that we're having a difficult time getting ammo or enough ammo to have those practice days. But we do a minimum of 2 qualifications a year.
That reprise of Ask the Cops was proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. Be sure to tune in to Ask the Cops the second and fourth Friday of every month during the 4 o'clock hour on the Voice of Ocala.
Tom Schmitz, after a tough loss last week, Trinity Catholic looking to bounce back this week on the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night high school football game of the week.
That's right, Tom James. They're welcoming PK Young from Gainesville. This should really be a good football game for Trinity. Coming off a tough loss, they should have an easy time with PK Young.
All right, pregame 6:45, kickoff at 7 o'clock on Friday night.
For the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night game of the week right here on WOCA,
The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Hey everybody, this is Kelly Hart, your new host of the Ocala Magazine radio show. Join me every Friday at 10 a.m. when we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life with in-depth interviews from and about your community. So don't miss Marion County's favorite city magazine, Ocala Magazine, every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Universal Soil Solutions wants to know when the last time you took a good look at your property. Noticed any driveway cracks, stair-step cracks in your block, or even foundation cracks? It may or may not be a sinkhole, but a visual inspection by a trained professional must be performed. Experts in sinkhole remediation, cosmetics, remodeling, and even complete construction development. Universal Soil Solutions provides that inspection for free. To schedule your free property inspection, you must call now, 877-519-2777. That's 877-519-2777.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
This is Tom Schmitz live in the WOCA studios. This news update brought to you by Gateway Bank. Brent Molliver defeated incumbent Susie Heimbachel by a vote of 1,873 to 1,463 on Tuesday to become the new city council member from District 1, the at-large seat representing the entire city. In a run for the city council District Seat 3, incumbent Jay Musley soundly defeated challenger and political newcomer Aaron Feen by a vote of 2,549 to 690. This news update was brought to you by the Gateway Bank, your new old-fashioned bank. Join Buddy Friday for Community Gazette Day at Gateway Bank.
When you're a stranger, faces look ugly. When you're alone, women seem wicked. When you're unwanted, streets are uneven. When you're down, when you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name.
And welcome back to the Voice of Ocala. Just a moment, we'll be talking to Keith Chartrand. He should be calling in a moment just to tell you the story. Every now and then there's an animal story that just tugs at your heartstrings. When you read this story about this little dog and you see this photograph, this little poodle, and you see that we don't know what happened. This one leg was apparently gnawed off or whatever, or whether or not it was what happened when the dog was staked out in front of the shelter, I don't know. But you see this story, this dog now, it tugs at your heartstrings. And now we're going to want to know what happens to this dog. Duncan Molly, I think was the name. We're going to know what happened to this dog who was chained out there. And first thing you think of is who would do something like that. Apparently the dog's about 2 years old, as I said, given the name of Duncan Malloy, I guess it is, M-I-L-L-O-Y. And, and it tugs at our heartstrings and it makes us want to know more about it. And also we want to follow the progress. So we'll talk to Keith in just a moment. In fact, I think Keith's on the line now. Hello, Keith. How you doing?
Hey, buddy. Good to be on with you.
Thank you. Good to talk to you again. And Keith Chartrand, a writer here in town who's been on the program before and does a golf show locally as well. And you got a call about a dog. Why don't you tell me the story?
Just a bad situation, unfortunately. People in a day and age where sometimes people can't take care of pets. What happened was, as was in the paper today, was between Sunday night and Monday morning, somebody left, a poodle. Now, at the vet, but it was done in such a way, and more importantly, it was the condition that the poodle was left in. And basically, when Lynn Beretta got to her job at the Humane Society, the dog was chained up to a metal post next to the entranceway to the Humane Society, and essentially the front right leg, all of the muscles and the tissue was completely ripped off the dog, and you just saw the humerus bone, which was the leg bone that goes basically down to the foot of the dog all the way up to the shoulder. I mean, we're looking. It was like a chicken bone that was basically exposed, which was it's a god awful situation.
Yeah, and you said it was, as you quoted in the story of her saying, it was gruesome. And this little gray and white poodle was left there. It was in front of the shelter. Is that where it was?
Correct. If the shelter, there's I'm used to the baseline location because I drive by that one a bit, but there's one just north of downtown, off of 44. It's on 441, and there's a gate that you have to enter to get in there. Employees have to enter a gate, and with Lynn being the first one that gets in the morning, she gets up to the car, gets out of her car, and goes to enter the gate, and basically someone took a half of a metal fence post, lodged it in the dirt next.
Might have lost Keith there.
I think we lost Keith.
Dialing back into the game. And just to finish reading the story, this woman, Berrier, B-E-U-R-R-I-E-R, Berrier, said that the first thing the dog did when he picked him up, and the dog could have been there for, who knows how long, and apparently it looked like he had been exposed for quite some time, or she, tied to this metal post. So the first thing the dog did was lick her in the face, and he wouldn't stop licking, obviously. And obviously the
legs hanging open like that, and all he's doing is licking.
She thought at first, she said it wasn't something that happened in the last 24 hours. It looked like it happened weeks ago, apparently. And dog's also malnourished, according to the story, dirty and flea infested. So let's pick it up there again with Keith. Keith, sorry we lost you there. Just got to the point where
sorry about that.
It's all right. If you can hear us, okay.
Yeah, it was flea, but it was malnourished. As Story had mentioned, there could have been a different scenario here, buddy, but, there's a point that he made early when we spoke off air, was that, could have been a coyote basically got to the dog.
Right.
But, you don't know. But I had talked to the doctor yesterday as well as the technician.
Yeah.
It wasn't that route.
Keith, we're going to have to. You're breaking up there. I think you're in a bad zone there or something. If you can hear me, suffice to say, the dog is doing well now. Apparently, I saw the photographs, and apparently the surgery has been performed on Duncan Malloy, and he's asleep after surgery, and apparently the dog is doing well, and it has a good ending to a sad situation. The dog will be up for adoption. Is that correct?
Yes. The dog will be up for adoption, and the photo that ran in the paper showed the dog lying on the mat, but there were unpublished photos that were given to the newspaper but they were so gruesome that they could not publish them.
I can imagine that.
And it's a standpoint how awful it was, but somebody did drop that dog off, and they actually did it during business hours. The society could have been in an awkward position of having to, as the story mentioned, come up on negligence to cruelty to animal charge, and it could have gotten worse if the owner had said, yes, I'm the owner.
Yeah.
Because that the way the bone was protruding out there, both the technician and the doctor said that this wasn't something that happened in the last 24 hours. It had been weeks, so the dog had been like this 4 weeks.
Right.
So.
And I just read your story saying that very same thing. And, it's speculation. Who knows? You think, well, maybe somebody had the dog, couldn't afford to pay for it, therefore left the dog there. Could be that they found the dog someplace. That doesn't sound likely, but it sounds like someone didn't want to have to pay for anything, but at the same time didn't want to have to face charges if something went wrong, but wanted some care, and so they staked this dog out, this little poodle out, and apparently the damage was done. The leg of the dog was gone, and luckily this woman came forth, and found him in time, and now they spared the little poodle. So it's I guess we'll have to keep up with what goes on here with Duncan Malloy here.
We'll keep up with it. And to the standpoint, when you do something like this, it's a horrific story because you don't want to see the dog in that particular situation. But it shows the good people of Ocala and the doctors getting to it right away so that the dog can be taken care of, and it shows the compassion and the care that the Humane Society has.
Absolutely. It's a good story in that regard, and so we're going to be personal fans of we're going to have a Duncan Malloy fan club, okay? So we'll be keeping up with it. So let us know what goes on. Appreciate it. Good job on the story.
Sure will. All right, buddy.
Keith Chartrand. Pretty nice little story there. Sad, but yet happy.
Happy ending, though. Good ending. And, the Humane Society, those people do a good job.
Yes, they do.
Bruce Fischelo and his staff do a great, great job at the Humane Society.
And in fairness, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe not have been a case of neglect. I don't know what happened, but whatever it was, the person either picked the dog up and found it and brought it in or something. I don't know. But they got him to the right place. That's the least they did and spared his life. But I can understand how some people would be nervous about going in with a dog like that and say, hey, I don't want to be called, charged with pet neglect. I mean, even that little story I told about the bird, having to, where do you take him? What do you do? You don't have to fork out large amount of money for an animal that you don't even know. But in the end, you have to do the right thing and take care of the animal, and everything will work itself out. And thankfully, to the doctors, the veterinarians, as Keith said, and the SPCA, that he got taken care of. So, or she, I guess. I don't know the name. Whoever, Duncan must be a male. So I'm going to go with he, Duncan Malloy. All right, good little story. Let's take a break, come back. I understand the mayor is probably on his way out of town. We'll talk to him next, catch up on some news, get his thoughts about the new council. I didn't think Kent was on that ballot. He wasn't on mine because he was running unopposed. So I guess
you never know where the mayor is, though.
Well, he's out there doing the business. He does the people's business. He travels around the state and does.
He does.
Southern Ocala. So we'll
probably
talk.
in Lake City today.
I'm going St. Pete.
Okay. Well,
where in the world? We have to play a game called Where in the World's the Mayor?
Can't go in.
JJ, what are you guessing?
Right across from you right now.
You had to spoil it, didn't you, JJ?
JJ just has to give it away, doesn't he?
Give it away.
Looking very dapper.
There
as well.
you go. All right. The mayor's in the house. We had a little fun with that.
What do you mean he's looking dapper? It would be news if he wasn't looking dapper.
Exactly. We'll take a break, come back, get his thoughts on the elections and other things right here on the Voice of Ocala. Stay tuned to
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Having the motivation and making the commitment to quit smoking is a great first step towards becoming smoke-free. However, anyone who's tried to quit smoking knows how challenging it can be. Having the determination to quit may not be enough. You may need some help. If you're ready to quit smoking and are between the ages of 18 and 75, currently smoke 10 or more cigarettes a day, and can commit to participating for 24 weeks, you may be interested in a research study which is being conducted to evaluate the use of investigational drugs to see if they can aid individuals in their quest to quit smoking. To help you quit, smoking cessation counseling and all study-related medical care will be provided at no extra cost. You may also be reimbursed for your travel time. To receive more information about this study, how you can participate, please call Rinstar Medical Research in Ocala at 352-629-5800. That's Rinstar Medical Research in Ocala, 352-629-5800. Hi, this is Buddy Martin. If you have an award or a trophy in your house, there's more than a good chance it came from BJ Trophies Gifts and Awards. At BJ Trophies, Floyd Hirschberger and his staff have a lot more than just trophies. Among the items they specialize in are donor recognition walls and trees, personalized or engraved gifts, cast bronze dedication plaques, wide format digital printing with posters, banners, and signs, and promotional products. Floyd is the official trophy and awards maker for the Voice of Ocala radio show and is North Central Florida's leader in custom recognition programs, corporate awards, industrial engraving, unique gifts, and advertising specialties. When Angie Lewis went shopping for something to award to the winners of her State Farm Good Neighbor Award, she shopped first at BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Check them out at 1735 Northeast Jacksonville Road on North Magnolia's Miracle Mile, or call them today at 352-732-2249. BJ Trophies Awards and Gifts. Trophies is just our middle name.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to David Carmel. He's coming on to speak about his book, Appointments. It's a novel of life in our nation's capital.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events served bite-sized.
And then Hank Whittier will be in the studio bringing you veterans news as he does each and every Thursday.
Let's talk golf with PGA professional and golf college founder James Beckett.
And then the guys that kept us cool all summer long will keep us warm when the weather gets cold. These are the guys from Climate Control and Mechanical Services. They'll be in the studio to answer your questions about what they do to make sure the climate is controlled in your home.
Ann Shannon is the director of the Volunteer and Senior Services Program for Ocala Health System, and Marie Palacio is an occupational therapist for Strive Physical Therapy. They'll be in the studio speaking about the Senior Wellness Community Center.
All of that plus fun with Joe. Robin, I think I have some more word ladders.
Yay!
On the next AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
So what did you do with your weekend? Me? I was flying, because I'm taking flying lessons from Ocala Aviation. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to give that a shot. but I'm not quite sure. Well, I've got the solution. It's called the Discovery Flight, and that's exactly what it is. It helps you discover the wonder of flying and if it's for you. It's only $99, and it gives you the chance to learn a bit more about the airplane and then actually go for a ride with a flight instructor and take control of the airplane. That's how I got started, and now I'm on my way to being a pilot. Yeah, I know, scary thought, right? But the demand for qualified pilots is stronger than ever, and with the help of Ocala Aviation, you could make a career change and learn to be a commercial pilot. But it all starts with a Discovery Flight. So stop by the flight school, conveniently located at the Ocala Airport, visit the website at ocalaaviation.com, or call 861-7484. That's 861-7484. Ocala Aviation. Your adventure starts here. Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Take a load off Fanny. Take a load off Free. Take a load off Fanny.
All right, Mayor's in the house. Real quick, I mentioned this story. I'll bring it back just a second to talk about the bumbling bandit. Apparently, on what was the 12th? That's Sunday, whatever, Saturday. There's a video caught a bandit in dark-colored pants and gloves with a shirt covering his face. The store was the Diamond gas station over on 17th. He enters the store. He throws a brick through the side of the window first. He goes to the store. He trips over a stool. He gets his balance. He removes cigarettes and beer, runs back and forth to put the items in a plastic bin. And while he did that, the shirt covering his face fell down. So his disguise was gone. And the bin was full. The man climbed up the counter, and the bin fell, spilling the contents out. He frantically put everything back in the bin and climbs the counter again and spilled the contents of the bin on the floor again. At that point, he left the store. Then he came back again to pick up a case of beer and a few packs of cigarettes before he left. They're calling him the bumbling bandit, what they're calling him. So anyway, hopefully they catch the guy. I don't think there's any news about his whether they've apprehended him or not. So we'll keep up with that and let you know. Meanwhile, the mayor's in the house, looking spiffy as usual. And we're just talking during the break about the elections. Brett Molliver wins over Susie Heinbachel.
Yep.
And of course, Jay Musley over Mr. Fine, wins. And I'm not clear still on these. My reading comprehension is not great when I read things like charter changes and things. And trying to figure out exactly what they meant at the voting booth was difficult enough for me, and I'm sure for a few other people out there like me. But apparently there were 2 that passed and 3 that didn't, right, Kent?
Right.
So one of them affected the mayor's office. Tell us about that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find these on there, but I can kind of remember it. Basically, there were two components to it. One, that it says in the charter that the city council can hire special policemen. No one really knows what that is. They've never done it and probably never will. I don't really understand what that one was for. But anyway, that was part of it. But the most important part of it was currently under the charter, the mayor can enforce all ordinances except those that deal with public utilities, which would be, like, say, Ocala Electric. And they wanted to change it where the mayor's office couldn't enforce ordinances that are being enforced by other departments, commissions, et cetera, such as the Code Enforcement Board. They leave that up to code enforcement to do. So the voters didn't approve that one, so the charter's back to the way it was, which quite frankly was fine with me. When all this charter stuff started, they asked me, they said, are you, and I can say this now, they said, is there anything you want changed? And I said, no, I'm happy with the way it is now. And so then we got to where we are, where a lot of it was changed. So I'm happy with the way the charter amendments panned out. I always say that, the voters are pretty smart people. They know what's going on. So
well, they're smart, but they didn't turn out in mass.
Well, I know
10% of the people trying to vote, 3,000 or something.
Yeah, I wish they'd got out and voted, but the ones that did, I applaud you for getting out and taking part in the process.
Yeah, the one that everybody talked about was the one amending the charter regarding special elections, where they should have a runoff or not. And Brian Creekbaum on this show last week and let the people vote. He was one who wanted that not to be ratified, and it was not. So, it went, as you said, it went down. So that means that there will continue to be runoffs even in special elections, like when Jay Musley ran to fill a seat, in a special election, and there would have, instead of getting a majority, it would be that still have to have a runoff. And the other ones, I don't know if we need to go into any more. You mentioned them under the chief of police, which is your deal.
Right.
They would have taken some of your power away in this if it passed, right, the mayor?
Yeah, and Jimmy Gooding would probably disagree with me, but it was, but it said or any ordinances allowed for the mayor to enforce under state statute, which we don't really know what those were. So now it's what it was plus any laws that are allowed by state statute ordinances.
Right.
So yeah, it's fine the way it is now.
While you don't vote any longer, you did it for 12 years on the city council.
Right.
You're sitting on all the meetings, and you have the veto power if you don't like something.
Correct.
That you've never exercised so far.
Yeah, I have.
You have?
Yes,
what was
sir.
it?
One of them was about notifying people, which failed. Notifying people of a change on an alcohol location permit. If they were going to change from on-premise to off-premise consumption, I had said that the residents within a certain area needed to be notified of that change. Mm-hmm. Let's say I was going to have outdoor, serve outdoor alcohol and have band outside my restaurant or whatever, which would affect the neighborhood or whatever it may be. Now it's just staff approves it, and it doesn't. Residents aren't notified about that. Mm-hmm. They don't know about it until they have a problem.
And you want them to be notified.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
100% notified.
And you veto? They didn't override you?
They overrode me on that one.
Okay, all right.
And the other one was, I take that back. I can't remember what the other one was. I just said I was going to veto it. And they said, fine, we're not going to pass it then because they didn't have the votes to override it.
I got you. Okay, so my point was asking you, this group, I know you know most of these people.
Oh, sure.
You serve with Susie, who I think of all accounts did a good job.
Yeah, I think so. She did a good job.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Susie's biggest problem was she cast a vote against the FedEx. She wasn't against the whole program.
Right.
She was against the incentive program.
Incentive part.
And most people read that she was against the whole thing, and I think that hurt her in the polls.
Right. I think it did. She voted for the infrastructure portion of it, which was about $13 million of it. But she did vote against the incentives, and that's the way she just feels in her heart that we shouldn't give incentives to companies that are coming to Ocala. I naively, when I got on council in '99, thought that we were so good that people would come anyway. But unfortunately, that's not the way the world works.
Everybody else does it.
Yeah,
if you don't want to be competitive, you have to do something for sure.
Sure. If we were the only city in the country that wasn't given, incentives, and no one gave incentives, then we'd all be on equal footing. But we're not.
Yeah. All right. So I think I'll say this of the recent council. I think the council, since the new election, since Jay Mussler came aboard, and they had such a tough year to deal with budgets, what everybody had. For my money, I didn't go to every meeting, but what I'm able to discern, I'm pretty pleased with the progress that we made. Now, of course, the economy was upticking. That always helps.
Sure.
I think maybe some of that same momentum can carry forward.
I think
with Brent Molliver being on the council, and we need vision, we need leadership, and we need strong people in the city council. So I'm hoping that's going to continue to happen.
Well, and I was thinking about this last night. I mean, while I don't have a vote, I can speak, and I've started speaking more and more and let my voice be heard. I've got 14 years on council. We will have Jim Hilty with 0 years of experience on council. Brent Molliver with 0 years experience on council. Jay Musley with 1.5 years. John McLeod with 2 years. And of course, Mary Sue has, I think, 16 years. or 18 years. I'm not sure. And then Mary Sue's going to be out for a couple of months, so with some medical surgery issues, and wish her well and hope she gets back soon.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That doesn't happen until November, but so anyway, it's going to be challenging.
Yeah,
but I think everybody's up to the job.
And I forgot to mention Jim Hilty, who I've only just met, so I don't know. Let me say this about Daniel. I'm going to say this about Daniel Owen. A lot of people have crossed swords with Daniel Owen, including you, and even me to some extent, early on in the Marion Theater thing. And he's known to cross swords, but I think his energy and his willingness to speak out and give the other history, even if you don't agree with his point on the Ducks of Tuscaloosa or whatever the issue may be.
Right.
I think we need that kind of dialogue on the city council.
You're right.
And I hope that Jim Hilty will continue to go that direction, because you got the information, you have the insight, you got to tell us what you think.
Right.
Then we can figure out as voters and as citizens whether we like it or not.
Right.
I don't like people that hide in the shadows.
No.
And we have some elected officials in this county who do. And I really want to see, I'm going to call them out and say, continue to come forward with your opinions and speak to the public. And I for that point, whether you like Daniel Owen or don't like Daniel Owen, or whether you've had difficulties with him, I admire and respect that. So
absolutely.
I hope we continue to get some of that. So
his voice will be missed. There's no question about it.
He's got to show up someplace down the line, doesn't he? Don't you think, one day?
I think you might see
like
him
a bad penny.
Like a bad penny. No, I think you might see Councilman Owen run for a county commission spot.
Think?
I think so. He says no, but I think so.
Interesting. Well, that would be quite interesting.
Or maybe school board.
Sure. Well, school board. There you go. There you go. There you go. They call them the straw for a reason,
Yeah.
We got just a couple minutes. I wanted to see what other parts of the city's business can you share? Any news on baseball or anything else that you've been working on?
We're still working on that. You should hear something here real shortly on that. I've been working with a couple of local groups here in town when that actually happens to go out and do the actual, media campaign, marketing, treat it like a real, political campaign. Did just get off the phone with site locator for Trader Joe's.
Really?
This afternoon.
Trader Joe's, huh?
And he said that, the last time he and I talked, there weren't any stores in Florida. So he said, let's get in Florida first, see how everything goes, then we'll talk again. So I called him back, said, I don't want you to forget us. He said, but the first round of stores have opened. They're looking at the results, and probably the next 6 or 12 months, they will see what kind of activity they've had in this area. And he said that he felt very likely that Ocala would be, a place that they would locate.
That'd be awesome.
It's a secondary market from where they already are.
Are they in Orlando at all?
Orlando, Gainesville. I went to that store there. It's about 14,000 square feet.
Right.
It's 30% of their business, I think, comes from the villages, which gets where they have to drive through to get there.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from Ocala, so that alone, would support it. So 6 to 12 months, you may hear something, and we could get a store.
There you go. Next time you come back, maybe next week, we'll get you to update us on Silver Springs, since you were part of the advisory committee. Maybe you can give us a little insight to what's going on there when you get back next week.
Yeah, I think we got some meetings coming up in November on that, so I'll update you.
Mayor Kent Gwynn, love the suit.
Thanks, sir.
Is that like, who makes that suit, by the way?
Ravizzola. Got that at Grinders in Tampa.
How about that?
It's an Italian suit.
He does sell a few suits down there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
Chris.
does.
Yeah.
Chris.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Kent. Kent Gwynn, the mayor, always good about coming in and sharing his time with us and sharing the microphones to keep us up to date. We come back, it's time to go to the board and see if we can play fake or factoid, see whether or not JJ and Tom can redeem themselves for getting blanked yesterday by one Angie Lewis. Coming up next right here on the Voice of Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Buddy Martin. I want to tell you about a conversation I had recently with General Manager Pat Murray on the great family atmosphere at Country Club of Ocala.
It's a family first club. Again, we have any number of different types of memberships, but obviously the one that attracts the greatest level of interest is our family. And the reason for that is we have a little bit of something for everybody. I mean, we obviously have a world-class golf course. We have 7 tennis courts here for all levels of tennis players. We have a junior Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fitness center that's second to none, and we have state-of-the-art equipment in our fitness center.
Country Club of Ocala, where the facilities are all a family will ever need. For more information, call today at 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of Monday's Gator Report and Gator Talk Thursday right here on The Source. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's national magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on.
Your home for Florida State football all season long. WOCA, The Source.
Looking for hand-cut steaks or just plain good food made from scratch daily? Then head over to Cody's Original Roadhouse for a fun, casual, family-friendly meal. Plus, don't miss the best happy hour with 2 for $1, everything from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, including Top Shelf. Unwind and watch your favorite college or pro team on one of our many high-def TVs. Cody's, you won't go home hungry or broke. You'll just go home happy. Cody's Original Roadhouse, where quality and value come together.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Next time you get a fountain drink at a fast food joint, you might want to skip the ice. That's because samples found that their ice contained higher levels of bacteria than samples of water taken from their toilets. You and I may have a virtual doppelganger out there. That's somebody with a nearly identical name and email address as you. Keep the office at about 75, 77 degrees. You'll see productivity soar and your workers will feel much happier.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Ugh, what wrong?
Ugh, need wood for fire.
Ugh, I go get. Ugh, I got wood for fire.
Ugh, what takes so long?
Had to use restroom. Someone not refill toilet paper.
Ugh, my bad. You wash hands?
Ugh, of course. Ugh, what caveman you take me for?
You know, Dan, people who save money by switching to Mike Scott Plumbing sure are happy.
Well, Brittany, how happy are they?
Happier than a caveman with indoor plumbing.
Yep. Get happy. Get Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. 237-2888.
Stay informed on everything going on in the villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, welcome back to the program. Voice of Ocala coming up at 4 o'clock. What do you call him, JJ?
Dos Equis.
You call him a Dos
The
Equis
most
fan?
interesting man in the world.
Yeah. Mark Emery's going to be here, and he'll spend the hour with us. Catching up on Mark. Has been a while since he's been on the show. Looking forward to that conversation. He's involved in a lot of things in this community, including Silver Springs. We'll get his take on that. Meanwhile, I'm going to make an open confession before I start this game today, because while I, in one hand, I like to kid JJ and Tom about how bad they are, they're not nearly as bad as I am at picking football games.
Fact.
So I've been horrible. I mean, I've been like 1
You
for
are the
5.
defending champion, buddy, so you're allowed to have an off year.
I've got an off year, that's for sure. So let's just say that. But let's see today if we can get the best game out of Tom and JJ, and our fake or factoids coming up right now. As soon as Tom gives us the disclaimer,
all these fakes or factoids or Buddy Martins alone, we don't know if they're right or wrong, and we don't really care. We just try to go with the flow.
And raise your right hand. I promise not to disparage any of the answers.
Never.
If you
gotta
do,
go fast
what
today.
happens if you do? All right, here we go. Number one, every month that begins on a Sunday has a Friday the 13th.
True.
True.
It is true. Number two, even though we hate them, Mondays tend to be fairly productive with a solid 8 hours of actual work usually getting done.
True.
False.
JJ is correct. It is false. Number three, long ago in ancient Rome, being born with a crooked nose was viewed as a symbol of leadership and intelligence.
True.
True.
It is true. So far, we have one miss. Is that correct?
Yes.
You guys are doing good. Here's one. Mark Emery probably tell you this is true or not. Sprinkle salt on a bird's tail. No, it's not. Sprinkle salt on a napkin before putting a drink on it.
True.
To prevent the drink from sticking.
True.
You guys spend too many hours in bars.
Yeah,
Very easy.
I do that every time I get a
too.
new glass of adult beverage.
Number five, a handicapped parking space needs a sign to be valid. If it just has a wheelchair painted on the ground, you can legally park there.
False.
True.
JG is correct. It is true. Wow.
Tom stinks.
Number seven, we spend about 10 minutes every day looking for misplaced items.
True.
Yeah, true.
It is true. Number eight, earthworms contain nutrients we can't get anywhere else, and if consumed regularly can lead to a stronger and more productive life.
True.
True.
It's false.
It's about to go east.
Time's out. Go, G-O, is the shortest complete sentence in the English language.
True.
True.
That is correct. Number 10, Jesus wept is the shortest chapter.
True.
Oh,
Let me finish the question.
Chapter.
The shortest chapter in the Bible. It's found in the Gospel of John, chapter 2, verse 35.
It's the shortest verse.
Yeah, I don't think
Not
it's
the
a whole
shortest
chapter.
That's false. It's not the
False.
shortest chapter. It's the
You are
shortest
correct.
verse.
It is false.
Come on,
It is-
buddy. Here's a Sunday school over here, man.
All right, that wraps up. You guys did a good job
JJ
today.
missed
JJ.
one.
Wow.
Boom.
See?
And you didn't have to phone it in like yesterday. You know,
well-
these were real. Today was a real
Wait a
fact.
minute now.
Those
These
are
are
the
all
facts.
good. I mean, these are all good. And look.
Yesterday, there was like 7 that were just absurd. Like, you're called a whatever phobia if you're scared to eat a hot dog with mustard. or
JJ,
something.
why didn't you say why didn't you get them right then?
I don't
were
know.
so easy.
I didn't know you were going to do us like that.
Well,
buddy.
sometimes I got to throw you a curveball. You think Verlander throws nothing but fastballs?
It's true.
Okay. Sometimes you got to throw a curveball. Coming up,
Nasty game yesterday.
the man who has another Emmy on at home. One of our favorite guys, favorite hour coming up with our friend Mark Emery in the house right here on the Voice of Ocala. Stay tuned to
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mama who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with them Indiana boys on an Indiana night.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase across the fixed rate allowance.
Warning, there's been a zombie outbreak in Marion County.
Do you feel like a zombie in your old car? Are you embarrassed to be seen driving around town? Are your monthly payments sucking the life out of you?
You may be driving dead. Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. If you're driving dead, I've got the cure. All you need is $13 down to drive alive in a nicer, newer car today.
Why drive a car that rots your brain when you can drive a car that's not a pain?
Put just $13 down and feel alive in a nicer, newer ride. Plus, my guaranteed credit approval process could bring you back to life. Even if bad credit has held you back in the past, I'm saving Marion County residents from driving dead.
So trade in your terrifying old ride, bring in $13 to put down, and drive home today.
I believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car, and this week it only takes $13. But hurry, this offer ends once we've revived 47 drivers. My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or call 694-1234. Yes, 694-1234. See our Prestige.
Getting a head start in learning to read is more important now than ever for our young children. The Reading Pals program of Marion County pairs up reading mentors with struggling kindergartners and helps them get up to speed in their most important years. But they need volunteers. If you'd like to be a Reading Pal, call Jan Hathaway at the United Way at 732-9696. That's 732-9696. Be a Reading Pal today.
If you need a sign or a banner for your yard or your business or your campaign, I'd recommend you go to Signs Unlimited at 318 South Magnolia in Ocala. Screen printing, embroidery, digital graphics. Do what I did when we needed signs for the Save the Marion Theater Group. Go see Vic Buttermore at Signs Unlimited if you want quality work with a fast turnaround from somebody who is deeply committed to his community and always ready to assist you. There's a reason Vic's slogan is, "It's our business to make your business better." Sign up for Signs Unlimited. Call 732-7341 today.
Seminole football and ACC Clash of the Titans this Saturday night as number 5 Florida State travels to number 3 Clemson. Hear all the action starting at 8 o'clock Saturday night on WOCA, The Source.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
Universal Soil Solutions wants to know when the last time you took a good look at your property. Noticed any driveway cracks, stair-step cracks in your block, or even foundation cracks? It may or may not be a sinkhole, but a visual inspection by a trained professional must be performed. Experts in sinkhole remediation, cosmetics, remodeling, and even complete construction development. Universal Soil Solutions provides that inspection for free. To schedule your free property inspection, you must call now, 877-519-2777. That's 877-519-2777.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Albinger, it may be a good day to look at your 401k statement. You probably made some money today because the markets are up. The Dow is in triple digits with a possible deal to end the government shutdown and to raise the debt limit, although both temporarily. The House and the Senate will have to approve the measures. More of us may be thinking it may not be a great time to buy a home. The National Association of Home Builders Wells Fargo Builder Sentiment Index slipped a couple points last month, but it is still, at least for the time being, in the healthy range. It's no secret kids can be cruel. Now, a study in the journal Developmental Psychology says kindness is a skill that must be carefully taught. Even then, kids may not fully understand empathy until they're well into their teens. If you like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, you are in luck. Soon we're going to have a new way to blow our diets. Butterfingers working on a version of its sweet round goodness. This one, though, is going to be crunchy, just like the namesake candy bar. This is ABC News.
If you're a responsible homeowner who's faithfully made your mortgage payments, you deserve thanks for doing the right thing. And I'd like to tell you about a powerful financial tool that rewards your responsibility. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and the tool that I'm talking about is the Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. HARP is designed to help you lower your mortgage payments. It's for responsible homeowners who are current on their payments, but due to the housing market may have little or no equity left in their home. And even if you were unable to get a HARP loan in the past, new guidelines mean that now you may be eligible. Over 2.5 million homeowners have already taken advantage of HARP and are saving an average of $250 a month. If you're one of the millions yet to take advantage, call us today at 800-QUICKEN. To learn more, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That number again is 800-QUICKEN.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I'm just sick of all the amateur stuff, you know? I mean, like, if I'm paying top dollar, I want a little production value, you know? Like some editing, transition, something, some music.
Don't worry. We didn't leave you.
He's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Our bosses say we gotta stay.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Bow to your sensei. Bow to your sensei. It's time for the second hour of The Voice of Ocala. Hoo-ah!
You ever come across anything like time travel?
Come on, stick around. It's free.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win.
Like the man said, hour two of the program called The Voice of Ocala on a Wednesday. Looking forward to this hour for a while now. We don't get him around here very often. We got him out of the woods occasionally. Now we got to get him out of a tuxedo in New York, and he's been shooting and celebrating his Emmy and all that kind of stuff. And now Mark Emery joins us in the program again. And boy, what a nice day it is to have you in the house. Appreciate you coming.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Congratulations.
Oh, well, thanks.
I mean, to win an Emmy one time is really a remarkable feat. To win two, which you now have done, that you're in just select company now, man. It's like winning 2 national championships. And when you get to that level, so what was that like? You went to New York and you went to the ceremony and you got dressed up in a monkey suit, and your wife Mary looked fabulous.
I agree with that.
With the picture, and you went there and you got this little statue. And what was that like, man?
Well, New York is New York anyway. I mean, in Central Park, we did a nice walk through there. And as far as the Emmys itself, we had a number of people worked on these films, and it was 4 1 hours, actually 5 total, and so they were shot all over North and South America, and just brilliant friends that got some incredible images. So it was a lot of fun. And in this case, a lot of us were folks we hadn't. One of my buddies from Africa was there. I hadn't seen him in years, and then Neil Reddig was there. And Neil that night actually won 2 Emmys in one night in the same category. What happened was, very simply, is that they couldn't decide between 2 films, and he had worked on this giant film that the PBS did on birds, the winged migration. They have birds flying over. Statue of Liberty, and you have eyeball shots of them, and you can see the Statue of Liberty behind it. Just incredible cinematography, and Neil worked on that. And he also worked on our film, which was Untamed America, which is a big series. It was done on Geographic, but it was done just on America, which is pretty uncommon. And so both of them, they split the category, and they gave Emmys to both films, and that's pretty unheard of. And he was working on both of them, so I just followed Neil around.
Well, no, I think you did more than that, obviously. So tell folks, I know we can't go over every piece of your work, but in the next hour, I want to talk about some of the things that you've done that have been so special, and the ones that you felt that were your favorites, and they're all like your babies, I know. Yeah. But and then you do strictly wildlife. I mean, right. You can do other things, but you specialize in the outdoors and shooting wild animals. And I've never asked you this question before, I think, in all the times you've been on the show. But about what is there about that when you study an animal? It's like you say in golf, be the ball. Mm-hmm. You almost have to be the deer.
There is kind of an immersion when you get into really working with wildlife. And what I like on the deer piece that we did for PBS Nature, that was a lot of fun because I spent 65 days with deer. The first 20 days, they ran away. And I just stood or sat right by my truck and out in the open because I figured as soon as I build a blind, they're going to be suspicious and they're going to notice what's going on, and they're just going to act different. So I'll just stand out in the open and after 25 or 30 days, a big old buck walked up right by me, looked at me all over, and then walked off, and I was in. And after that, I can now go in that general area, and I'll see them every time I'm there. 2 days ago, I had a whole group of 16, 18 of them around chasing each other around. It's mating season starting. So you get let into a society. And so there's a whole different language. It's all body language. And once you learn to read that body language, you can sometimes predict what's going to happen. And so it's a great challenge. It's the ultimate video game for me. I'm sitting there in a great location with great sounds all around, which I'm hearing on headphones while I'm filming, and all these creatures and deer make a lot of vocalizations. They'll have grunt calls. They get perturbed at each other and make little blowing sounds and all kinds of things. So remarkable animals to work with. But by getting immersed in that, we've done it with bears and moose and many other different species and wolves. And you get into their society and hang out, and you're just a casual observer, and they kind of put up with it. And so that's the special part of the job. All the other part, the pitching the tapes and trying to get it into and trying to get financing for your films and all that is the part that people don't see. They just see the romantic and the sentimental part of the film business and all the gear. One film was 1,900 pounds of gear to fly in and take back in the bush. So lots of stuff.
It's a physical job, that's for sure. The part you're talking about now is that, as you say, is that link with that animal. And you said you have to be able to read their signs, almost like you're in a poker game and you're reading a tell from somebody. What was the first time, if you or so, that you remember seeing something, an animal or deer, do something that you recognize and could to foretell what was coming?
Mm-hmm. I think probably when we were kids, there was a gal here in town, is one of my best friends, Lisa Drake. Her name is now Lisa Lancaster. And Lisa and I would count deer. We'd have a challenge. We'd go through this big cattle ranch that her father and his brother owned, and we would count them. And you could tell when that tail was going to come up, they're going to run. And so you better get your counting done pretty quick. So early on, that would be it. And then, of course, alligators would have little grunt calls when the babies were around and mom was around, and you knew that was a sign you better pay attention to as well, because mom defends the nest very, very well. And they're 6, 7 feet long most times, not quite as big as the males, but super aggressive when they're on a nest.
Is it true that you give off a scent of fear to animals?
I don't think I do. No,
but
no,
you don't. But people who do, they know right away, don't they?
Animals know a lot, and I'm sure scent has a lot to do with it, but also your body language. People who are just getting into still photography or cinematography, like we're doing, we see them trying to stalk animals. This is just a non-starter because the animal is immediately going to start them. If you have birds by your feeder and you swallow, a bird will watch a cat swallow, and he knows cat is hungry and he's getting ready to grab bird. So bird flies away. And if you're getting into bird photography, don't swallow right while you're in front of a bird. He's going to see it and take off. Lots of little things like that. So yes, scent. The only time I really got the scent thing was we got flown into a site where there was a bear on a moose kill. It's extraordinarily dangerous. And we made big circles around the area until we found the kill, and then backed out very, very slowly and set up camera. There was a guy who told us about this, who was a hunter, and he had lost his sweatshirt. He climbed up a tree, and the sweatshirt had come out of his backpack and landed on the ground. And the smell of that sweatshirt when we picked it up was just nasty and it was fear. It was just the adrenaline had gone through his system and just came right out of his pores. I don't know what it was, but we had to wash it before we shipped it back to him. So, yeah, you certainly can give off that.
Yeah, and I want to take a quick break, come back. I want you to tell me about your love for animals and how you began developing that and how you got in. Like for me, I love sports. When I found out I could go to a game and get paid to write about it, that's a pretty cool deal right there. And I figure I'm in, right? Yeah. I want to know about what your transition was. And then you take it to a whole other level from where you were, I don't know whether you were a small boy with a Brownie Kodak at age 5 or something, to where you are now is fancy equipment, shooting this wonderful stuff, and now going to New York to accept Emmys for it. So it's a big transition. Take us through your journey and tell us a little bit about that night when you got to that little trophy and where she sits right now. We'll talk about that with Mark Emery next right here. Stay tuned to the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Dr. Seaborn Hunt, a board-certified ophthalmologist, is your comprehensive medical, laser, and surgical eye care specialist for Marion, Lake, and Sumter counties. He offers services for cataract surgery, diabetes, glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, as well as a routine comprehensive eye exam. Call 873-7200 for an appointment today. No referral needed. Dr. Hunt accepts Medicare as well as most insurance plans and files the claims for you. Dr. Hunt has performed thousands of successful procedures. Call Dr. Hunt at 873-7200. That's 873-7200.
Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
This reprise of Ask the Cops is proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. This is Marion County Sheriff Chris Blair's answer to a question posed by Buddy Martin.
If I had to rank top 3 types of crimes that you're dealt with, but after drugs, what are the other 2 or 3 that you guys would say take up most of your resources and your time?
Well, number one, certainly drugs is what's leading all crime. With the exception of homicide, where you may have a domestic violence type case and the husband kills the wife or vice versa. The ones that take time are the burglaries, the thefts, the auto burglaries.
That reprise of Ask the Cops was proudly brought to you by Daniel L. Hightower, lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice since 1976. Be sure to tune in to Ask the Cops the second and fourth Friday of every month during the 4 o'clock hour on the Voice of Ocala.
Your official news source, WOCA.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Universal Soil Solutions wants to know when the last time you took a good look at your property. Noticed any driveway cracks, stair-step cracks in your block, or even foundation cracks? It may or may not be a sinkhole, but a visual inspection by a trained professional must be performed. Experts in sinkhole remediation, cosmetics, remodeling, and even complete construction development. Universal Soil Solutions provides that inspection for free. To schedule your free property inspection, you must call now, 877-519-2777. That's 877-519-2777.
Now is the time to take advantage of Florida Credit Union's CD specials. Our 36-month CD comes in at 1.26% APY. A 24-month is working for you at 1.0% APY. And our 12-month at 0.75% APY. All CD rate specials require a $10,000 minimum. With friendly service and rates like these, it's not hard to see why Florida Credit Union has your CD options covered. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Call 352-237-8222 for more information.
About a mile off Old Mill Road, that spot nobody knows. We park the truck and we take off running. Hurry up, girl, I hear it coming.
All right, welcome back to the Voice of Ocala. And Mark Emery, a globetrotter, extraordinary filmmaker, songwriter, all-around outdoorsman, Marion County boy, and one of our favorite guests here on the Voice of Ocala. So we're talking with Mark about his journey into the world of wildlife. And if you haven't seen his work, I don't know which one I'd recommend, but there's so many of them I know you've had. Give us the list of things you've had on PBS recently. I know you had the deer. You've had.
They're just different channels. Discovery Channel did one called North America. It was a $25 million film, and it was shot in a lot of locations all over North America. But we had 2 sections in there that we worked on. And in fact, there was one thing. Tom Selleck did the narration. And he said my name in the narration, and my wife said, "Tom Selleck just said your name on TV." She didn't care anything about me being on television. She was thinking shorts and Magnum PI kind of stuff. She was happy about that. So
it's cool though.
But anyway, it did show Marion County, and we also got some really neat stuff with manatees up the Silver River. There were 5 manatees all the way up near the head springs of Silver Springs. That's in my lifetime. It's never happened.
Yeah.
We had that many up there, and got a lot of other things, underwater stuff that kind of gives us a place in time where we got a good look at that spring system. As far as some of the others, the other late films that have been on are the one on deer was called The Private Life of Deer, and that was on PBS and on Nature. And
it's been a year just tracking the whitetail?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it takes a long time. I've been out going to several places for 5 or 6 years and really learning where they are and what time they're going to be there. And then this film came along just perfectly so that I could set up and shoot some of that, and had some great folks behind it as well helping. And then we did another one that this Untamed America was about, which was we tried for 2 years to find bears on a dead whale on a beach. Doesn't sound too tasty, but the funniest thing, I came out of just a horrible plane flight. We're on a little single engine, me and a buddy, and we're flying through these mountains, getting whacked all over the place by 80 to 90 mile an hour winds were coming, and we're trying to get away from that. So we were probably flying in 40s, 50 mile in small planes. Is just not good in mountains. So you're getting drops of 300 feet and stuff like that.
The wind shear going on there.
Right. So I land in this little community called Port Allsworth. It's probably not on Google Earth. And a friend of mine, Glenn, is one of the great pilots in Alaska. And I said, "Glenn, are you going to Anchorage anytime soon?" He says, "Hop in. You got 15 minutes. We're going." Cool. He's got a plane that gets up to 10,000 feet and goes. So I hopped in the back. I'm sitting right next to 2 guys from Lady Lake. They are contractors for the villages, and they said, "What are you doing here this summer?" I said, "Well, I was doing a little bit of salmon underwater at this village, but I just been trying to find a whale on a beach." "Oh, we saw that yesterday." So they had on their iPhones pictures from the air when they flew over quickly, and that was enough. I called Geographic. I said, "Send a camera out, and this is what we're going to do. If you want to try it, this is our last shot. The fall is coming. It's going to howl." And there were 15 to 18 bears over 900 pounds on this whale, and so they fought and they fussed, and then they ate until they couldn't walk anymore, and they all laid out in the surf in a staggered perfect line, and like you do after Thanksgiving dinner. And so it was just a riot, all the little interchanges that went on, and we went for several days back in there and filmed that, and had some exciting flights getting there because it was very, very remote, the location. And so we had some tremendous pilots. One of the pilots that flies us is the Aviator of the Year for Alaska last year. He's the best pilot in Alaska, and that's saying something. As
opposed to crashing and being upside down,
yeah,
which is what you were once before.
Yeah,
right?
That was a while back. Yeah, I was trying to show Mary where I'd been filming, and didn't work out as good as it should have.
And what about the whale? Was it a beach whale?
Yeah, it's a big old humpback whale.
People want to say, "Oh, you whale killer,"
No, it was a 60-ton humpback whale just sitting out there, and it's like breakfast. And we got up in the helicopter or airplane when we left, and you could see the trails for miles. How they smell it from 15, 20 miles away, I'll never know, but that's they almost made a GPS tracking line to the site of that kill. So they're remarkable animals, and the more you get around them, the less you think you know.
The bears, and they have the alligators.
Yes, alligators. We've been doing all this last 2 or 3 weeks. In between the Emmys, I went back and shot babies.
In between Emmys. Oh, listen to that.
No, I didn't mean
that's the ultimate line. In between Emmys.
And well, what I was going to say, in between Emmys and Film Festival, we went to film babies hatching, just coming out of the eggs, and they were just a riot. And they'd come out and snap at the air, and they're already little baby gators.
Where were they? Where were they?
Right by the nest site. One of the sites we did was near St. Augustine. The other one was in off of a big cattle ranch here in town. And both times we got them underwater and swam with them, and did a lot of adults underwater as well. So alligators are very, very clever because they operate at a different speed than we do. We have our ADD behavior and our caffeine, and they don't have any of that. So they simply wait for a moment when everything's just right, and then they do what alligators do, which could be bite you, could whack you with a tail, could take off and leave you wondering how you're going to catch him in the swamp, and they did all of the above in this last week. So we continually are taught lessons over and over again by alligators.
What's the most fascinating animal you've ever tracked or photographed or whatever?
There are a number of surprising animals. Lions and big cats are all surprising because you think you understand them, and I don't know if I ever will. And then of course bears are probably just under or in the same league as chimpanzees for intelligence. They're that smart. Yeah, one left a river and came back on the same day for 3 years in a row. Traveled a 50 to 100 square mile area and came back on the same day. Now, you and I getting dropped off, and a plane's going to pick us up in 25 days. You better write down the days. You're not going to know what day that is. And this animal continually showed up in the same place in the same time. So just real bright and remembers everything. And they'll check you and test you all the time when you're working with them. So you say favored in the sense that just enjoy being around. Maybe other animals enjoy being around them. I have to be on guard all the time with the bears, but challenging and learning something all the time. You're always going to learn something around grizzly bears. Mark
Emery is with us, the Emmy-winning videographer and filmmaker. What's the closest call you've had? You've done some adventuresome things. You've dealt with animals. You had a few snap at you and bite you and what have you. And what is the most life-threatening or dangerous situation you've encountered?
Unfortunately, you'd like to say it was some grand dramatic thing, and I was crawling down alligator dens in Georgia, and there are some islands there that they dug irrigation ditches in the 1700s to grow cotton, and now there's alligator dens all along the side of that. And at low water, you can crawl back in if you're so inclined to be with 5 or 6 alligators in one hole in the ground. I was doing this. My wife went in there with me even, and we got covered with ticks. So I got Lyme disease, and I didn't know it. I went to Alaska. It manifested itself, and I had a pericardial attack where it squeezed my heart with fluids and almost killed me. So I was 300 miles from the nearest road when this happened, and if I was going to film bears in the snow that night, if I'd have climbed that mountain and done that, I'd have been dead.
Wow.
But the next day I got on one of those lovely $25,000 medical flights to Anchorage, and 9 months later got fixed. So I came back here to get fixed. We had Dr. Cheryl Burns here in town, did a great job and turned me around, but that was pretty darn close.
Bitten by snakes?
Yeah, rattlesnakes and lots of other snakes, and then alligators. I had an alligator take the end of this finger off, and I had one bite me in 30 feet of water and had to pull my finger out and swim up. Was free diving, grabbing them. And so, yeah, you choose to do different things. I didn't drink or smoke or do drugs, so I had to do something.
And of course, which was there a rattlesnake that bit you, or?
Yes, sir. I was doing a show for
Ross Allen?
It was called Sunland back then, but yes, it was for Ross Allen's, and I had a snake that was wet, and so I didn't notice it was shedding. And you don't grip a rattlesnake real hard if you're going to catch him and milk him. You grab him fairly firmly and then put his body underneath your arm. Well, I did that, but I didn't. Their eyes turn blue if they're shedding, and I didn't notice because he was wet. And I have all these adult, mentally handicapped folks talking, and are very nervous. And we have 200 or 300 rattlesnakes on the floor, maybe 25 or 30 at that time, and they're very excited, to say the least. So I'm kind of trying to calm them down and talking real quiet. And the snake simply turns around in his skin and just bites me. He doesn't have. I'm not holding on to.
Oh, his skin's real through you.
It just slipped free. So there's a little hello call right there, and so I didn't let them know that I'd been bit. But we had a little switch over there, and you could flip the switch, and they'd know upstairs that you had an emergency in the snake pen, and they came down and got me, and we shortened that show a little bit and got out of there. So.
And you had the antidote to it right there?
No, the antivenin is actually very dangerous, and you have to have a test done first. And so I went to the hospital, and they wouldn't do the test, so I wouldn't take the antivenin. So I did it without antivenin, but in 3 or 4 days, and a couple of days, I was doing much better.
So you just got sick?
Yeah, we were able to wash one half of it out. And if anybody ever gets bit, and they're in the audience, one of the things you can do is wash it right away.
Yeah.
If there's any drop or two on the surface, that can make a big difference in a month in the hospital or not.
Really?
Yeah, because 4 drops is pretty much max of what you're going to get. So you wash a couple of those drops off, you might get local swelling like a real bad wasp sting or a reaction sting to something. Wow. And the other one can be, a month. Really
so
bad.
Is it true that you take the knife and cut the X in it and try to suck out?
That's kind of old school stuff. Yeah, if you think about it, if someone took a hypodermic needle and put it in your arm and you cut an X and tried to suck that back out, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
and that's exactly
that. If you have venom in your mouth and you happen to have a sore in that, you're in trouble there too, right?
Absolutely. Yep, you have an open wound. So yeah, that doesn't really work. You want to get to the hospital right away and keep it elevated and don't go crazy.
Yeah.
running or drinking or any of those things that'll speed up the process of venom running through your system, because you could go into shock, and that's the big problem with it. Yeah.
Mark, what is the next video or next film coming out that you did? This alligator thing. What is it a part of?
Really nice things happened. We've been fussing about Geographic doing a lot of reality shows now, and a lot of things that really aren't what Geographic used to do. That you used to see anthropology, geology films, films on things that we actually learned something from. And they've started a new channel called Nat Geo Wild, and it's kind of an upgrade version of Animal Planet. There's not any big reality shows on it yet. They have taken some of the old shows and re-edited them, but we're shooting new shows for that channel, and they are high-end HD. The budgets aren't there yet to make them cinematic, but that's where we're headed. And so we're shooting 2 here in Florida, and one is finally on this area. Instead of always going to the Everglades, we're shooting on Central Florida, and it's called Florida Wild. And then the other one will be on coastal areas of Florida all the way around. And so we're doing crocodiles next week, underwater down in the Keys, and this week we're doing alligators for the other film, for the freshwater version of the film.
And when you go to one of these shoots, and let's say what you did last week, what kind of crew do you have with you? And what happens to your video? You give it to them, and they edit it. Go through the process of last week. How did that work on the alligators?
Well, in alligator world, you have 2 or 3 things you're doing. One, in some cases, we'll do ultra close-ups where you can't do that with a wild alligator. You're going to get bit, and even there is no such thing as a tame alligator in my world. So we have an alligator handler with us. In this case, it's a guy named Kevin Torregrosso. Is very well known and very good at what he does. And we'll catch a gator, and we'll put him in a situation where I can get inches away with a macro lens, and I can shoot the pupil of his eye. Alligators have little dots on their chin called isos. Most people don't know this at all, and you can touch those and change the way he acts. You'll touch one of them, he'll just kind of like a cat. Touch another one, he might snap at you. And so to get that kind of close-up look at an alligator, you have to use a stand-in for a wild situation. Other than that, I'm in the woods, and we're shooting. At one point, I was probably 80 hours on this one gator who was chasing frogs. He's 7-8 feet long, and he's jumping.
Frogs?
And the pig frogs aren't big. Those bright green frogs that live in a lot of the marshes around here, and he was jumping 6-7 feet trying to catch him. He was having a blast, and so we filmed him for almost a week and a half, just sitting in a blind, and learned a lot about wild alligators that way. It's just really cool. We always see them, kind of think you know what they do, and we all repeat the same thing, and then you go watch them and you go, that's not what they're doing. They're adapting to whatever's coming along. He would show up at a certain place, and wild turkeys would show up the same day at the same time, and he would be in that area waiting in case one of them came down to drink water in the wrong spot. He was
planning and strategizing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they'll strategize.
We're going to take a break and come back. I want to talk to you about Marion County. You know almost every inch of this county. You've been to a lot of the places, including the Drake Ranch, which is one of the really great places, all parts of the Silver Springs, the forest, what have you. And it just take us on kind of a little bit of a guided tour to 2 or 3 of your favorite places to go in terms of nature and wildlife, some of which our listeners can see and some who can't because it's private ranch. And then I want to talk to you about your upbringing and your association with the Ross Allen people, how you got involved with animals. And then we're going to talk about something that I'm really excited about, and you are too, with something coming up. We're going to go to a meeting Friday on the Silver Springs International Film Festival, which is not just a hokey little deal. It's the real deal. We're going to have a film festival here. It's going to be next April. It's going to be in next October. You're involved in that situation, and of course, Laurie Zink and that group. So let's talk about that and talk about how we can showcase our beauty here in the county and let people know what this place is like we used to back in the day when Silver Springs was internationally known. So we'll take a break, come back, and talk more with the Dos Equis man, as JJ calls him, Mark Emery, after this time out on the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of Kinetic Motion Fitness here in Ocala, Florida. A lot of you have experienced our great classes in personal and small group training, but did you know we now offer dynamic workouts on DVD? These high-quality, locally produced, effective DVD workouts can go where you go. Going on vacation? No problem. We can go with you. Friends and relatives out of town who are jealous that you get to come to KMF? No problem. We ship anywhere in the United States for free. Our great lineup of 4 DVDs includes Kinetic Achieve, Kinetic Couples, Kinetic Core, and Kinetic Campus. 4 great workouts for the entire family on DVD. Sound interesting? Check them out on our website at kmfocala.com. While you're there, check out our class schedule and come see us. We're only 5 minutes from downtown across from the Skylark Plaza. Visit kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. KMF will get you results at our studio or at home with one of our DVDs. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are. Visit kmfocala.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Dawn Lovell, lead event designer and owner at Party Time Rentals. Have you ever wondered what it takes to make an event spectacular? Well, look no further. It's what we do every day, whether you're hosting an intimate dinner for 10 or a gala for thousands. At Party Time Rentals, we find just the right style and elegance to make your event a success. Our extensive inventory of the finest in chandeliers, tents, crystal, china, and specialty items is featured in our fabulous showroom. Stop by and say hello. It's a great way to get ideas for an event and experience for yourself how you can make your party time special.
Party Time Rentals, located on Southwest 10th Street, just off Route 200 in Ocala, and off Southwest 34th Street in Gainesville. For more information, call 352-629-8858. That's 352-629-8858. The party begins at Party Time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is once again that time of year to vote for Ocala Magazine's Best of the Best. Each year, you have the power to go online and vote for your favorite chef, restaurant, hotel, and of course, your favorite radio show. So go online to ocalamagazine.com and vote for Larry and Robin in the morning on WOCA, The Source.
Jacob, you forgot the voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin.
Ah, yes, of course. Then also vote for the voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin.
No, Jacob, they can't vote for both.
Well, that does present a problem. How do they decide?
I don't really care, just as long as they vote.
Are you always like this?
Like what?
So charming and friendly.
Oh, then yes, I am. Now wrap it up already.
Okay then, to recap, go to ocalamagazine.com and vote for anyone you want, as long as it's Larry and Robin in the morning or the voice of Ocala with Buddy Martin on WOCA, The Source. How was that?
It'll do.
Tom Schmitz, after a tough loss last week, Trinity Catholic looking to bounce back this week on the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night high school football game of the week.
That's right, Tom James. They're welcoming PK Young from Gainesville. This should really be a good football game for Trinity. Coming off a tough loss, they should have an easy time with PK Young.
All right, pregame 6:45, kickoff at 7 o'clock on Friday night.
For the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night game of the week right here on WOCA,
The Source. Seminole football and ACC Clash of the Titans this Saturday night as number 5 Florida State travels to number 3 Clemson. Hear all the action starting at 8 o'clock Saturday night on WOCA, The Source.
Howdy folks, RL here. I want to tell you about the best $5 bargain anywhere. For a limited time, Dairy Queen at Silver Springs is offering a sandwich or chicken strips, fries, a medium drink, and a sundae for only $5 till 4 p.m. And new on the menu is the Orange Julius line of real fruit smoothies, including protein smoothies. Our fresh-made garden salads go great with a fruit smoothie. Dairy Queen, Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
WWWWOCA, WWWWOCA.
Back on the National Geographic radio show, I wish, with Mark Emery, who was just collected his second Emmy for his work. Mark, you grew up here. You started rumbling around the bull rushes when you were a child, and you has affinity for animals. You met some people early on in your life who also were very knowledgeable folks regarding wildlife here. Talk about your upbringing and your love for the nature and how you got hooked into this and now found a way to make a living and doing quite well and actually being a part of this. How did you get started? And tell us about your first camera and how you pursued this.
Okay. I think that's 3 questions. I'll start with one.
It is a lot.
Well, I think a lot of us as young people here in Ocala were just blessed to have Silver Springs. And our first probably real surprise that wildlife could be what they are is Ross Outland's shows. And going to those as a kid and seeing someone put a snake on around somebody's neck and bad things did not happen. And I was actually in a commercial way back with another friend of mine sitting on top of Galapagos turtles with an apple on a stick so that we'd have a race between two Galapagos turtles. Just campy stuff, but a lot of fun back then. It had a different air to it. There were Seminoles and Miccosukees living in Silver Springs. We bought my first bow and arrow was a Seminole bow that was a long bow, and it was just great fun growing up doing all that. And it got into all kinds of trouble, but it was mostly clean fun trouble. Just Andy Mayberry kind of fun. So it was a great place to grow up. And, Ross was the croc hunter of the world. It was very comparable to the people everybody called, the man that they call a croc hunter today he had caught every species of croc in the world. That's 23 species, if I'm not mistaken, and some of them crazy hard to get near. The Cuban croc jumps 6 vertical feet and takes animals out of trees. This is a wild man. So this guy had been all there in the 40s and the 50s. This couple years ago, I was making a film for Geographic on crocs of the Americas, and we were down in Venezuela. And I ran into a guy, said, where are you from? And I told him. He said, did you know Ross Allen? I said, yeah, he still owes me $20. And he said, well, he's dead. I said, well, I'm Presbyterian. I'm going to be waiting on it. Don't you worry. I'll catch up with him a little later down the road. So he went on and told me, he said, well, Ross was here in the 50s, and he camped right over there. And he showed me in a book where Ross had written his name down. So in the 40s and the 50s, he's in countries where, I felt like I was exploring when I got there now, just 10 or 15 years ago. So he was the guy. And so a lot of us in town, Jerry O'Loughlin was the guy that got me into the Reptile Institute of Silver Springs, and he worked at WTMC as a radio guy back in the 70s, and he happened to be working there part-time at Silver Springs and got me involved there. And because we guys at the Bronx Zoo trying to work there doing the snake shows and the wrestling, because reptile jobs are pretty thin on the horizon. It's not a college course that you want to look out for life.
And he was probably as knowledgeable a herpetologist as it was in the world, correct?
Yeah, that and also animal behavior. He probably could do 50 or 100 calls of different animals. He would do a show and start talking about different animals, and then he would do the calls. And now I'm lucky if I could do 25 or 30. I'm
Give us one.
Well, a barred owl would be whoa, 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 or
What else you got?
That's a baby gator, and that's a moose.
Do Tom when he wakes up.
You don't want to scare the audience. That might be Tom with no coffee.
Pretty close.
Leave me alone.
Tom can do a camel. Go ahead, Tom.
It's hump day.
So you met Ross. You got enchanted with this world.
Oh yeah.
And you got involved. Did you conduct the tours at the Reptile Institute?
Yeah. Even before that, though, I had a friend that I mentioned earlier, Lisa Drake, who became Lisa Lancaster later. But as a kid, she was 2 years younger than me, and my sister was mean, and I liked Lisa, and so we'd go walking all through the swamp. It was just strictly platonic. I was 14, she was 12, and we're walking out on Drake Ranch looking around, and we would wade out in the swamp and see floating groups of ants that were climbing over each other's back to move literally on top of the water, or we'd see moccasins and other snakes that you now knew a little bit about because of Ross and other people like that. And so I had an opportunity to go to truly wild places when I was really, really young, and that was one of the first rancher that I ever knew that actually did conservation. He set aside certain parts of the ranch where there was minimal hunting, or there was places where critters could just kind of do well, and that was not a thought much in the 50s and the 60s and early 70s. There was harvesting, going on, and I was into on that myself. I hunted and fished and all that, still do, but very limited way now, but still active in that. So I got to see a different way of thinking about things, and that was ahead of its time for around here.
And then the photography, when did that kick in?
Well, I actually started as an artist, but I was too miserably slow. I could paint, and I won some competitions and stuff, but I would have starved to death at the speed I was painting. So when I finally got to using cameras and things like that, I realized this is where I needed to go, because I was not efficient enough as an oil painter to do what I wanted to do. So the big help here that elevated me up to the next level was two different things. One is I guided some National Geographic photographers in Alaska, but I also went to work for Jordan Klein Film and Video, and Jordy's dad, of course, had won 2 Academy Awards. He invented underwater cinematography. photography, and but he had never wrestled alligators, so I was able to catch gators for them and let them loose for them underwater for films, and worked on the first couple of shark shows for Discovery Channel with them, and wrote the music for the shark shows, and also worked on the shows themselves. So a lot of that and the swimming that we learned at the Perrys growing up, and all the swimming stuff around here came in. So a lot of scuba diving, and those guys are world-class scuba divers.
Well, Buddy, was he involved with Sharknado, though? Was Mark involved with that?
He was involved with Alligator. That's what he was involved with.
That's a good movie. Went to there, Mark.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. We DVR'd that. Oh, yeah.
Buddy came in and tell us about it. We had no idea what he was talking about.
I didn't either, by the way. By the way, what was your first camera? You remember it?
It was just a plastic camera my parents gave me for Christmas, and it wasn't much.
Kodak thing?
Yeah, the first Kodak Brownie I used, I think, was my sister's.
So you did have a Kodak Brownie?
I did have a Kodak Brownie. Yeah, you look through the little fuzzy viewfinder.
Yeah.
My grandfather actually was a pretty good photographer. He was and my mother actually worked for National Geographic in the 40s as a secretary, and my grandfather was a good pro-am kind of amateur photographer. He was actually the head of the mint for dollar bills, where they minted all the money in Washington, D.C., and he was the head of that after a while. And so he was a very precise man, obviously, and so his photography was the same. It was quite detail-oriented. But
so from a Brownie camera to now, what's the highest technology, that infrared thing you're talking about?
Well, yeah, we're using a red camera quite a bit. It's called Epic Red, and it's a 70-millimeter raw file. It shoots up to a terabyte a day if we're busy, and that camera will put out images that are 70 millimeters like IMAX, so they're just stunning images, and that's what James Cameron's using for his new films. He's taking two of those, pairing them up, and doing for 3D, and so it's a stunning camera, and it looks amazing. With a long lens and the right equipment, tripod, etc., it weighs 78 pounds. So I'm lugging that around every day. So I'm at the gym every day when I'm not in the woods.
How much does that thing cost?
$175,000. Probably could pick one up.
So a Brownie Hawkeye probably cost about $7.
If that, yeah.
Do the math.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Silver Springs Film Festival, International Film Festival.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you got drafted to be a part of this project, and I know you're just getting back from out of town. We're going to go to a meeting Friday. Tell me generically what you think about this. And
well, I was just at a film festival in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's the largest wildlife film festival in the world, and what you'll see once you get a film festival in an area is just tremendous residual results for the economy. It does a lot of things also for people coming to the area and reinventing how they can film underwater and do things, because there's new equipment now than there was 20 or 30 years ago, and there are a lot of producers and directors that don't know what we have right here. Commercials, we used to shoot all kinds of things right here, and other film crews would come in and shoot here, and as you know, we did Navy SEALs underwater here, and we did an IMAX film. I worked on that, and worked on lots of different large format kind of things right here at Silver Springs, major location, and it's gone by the wayside. And so we're going to try to bring that back on. The other part of that, of course, is that there are a lot of independent filmmakers now. The cameras are much better for beginning filmmakers. They have Canon DSLR cameras that shoot acceptable large format images for $3,000 to $5,000. So this is a remarkable thing for young filmmakers, and they'll have a chance to show their work at an indie film festival like this. So it's not just wildlife, though, of course, as you know.
I got you. So this film festival, as I understand it, I've never been to one. I know about Sundance and these
sure.
Obviously about Cannes, all that, or whatever how you pronounce it, Cannes. But I understand there will be 10 laurels given out here. Now, if I understand, I know nothing about this, that when you go submit a film and they're expecting maybe 1,000 or more people to be there, that your film can get a laurel. And you can add those laurels as you go to these festivals. And if you get, half dozen, you can advertise 6 laurels, right? Whatever.
Yeah. In the case of the film festival that we just went to, I had a film in the finals there that was not in the Emmys, but the one we had in the Emmys was not in the Wildlife Film Festival. So there are places that you can get some established credentials that will help you out, because it's more in the niche that you're in. The Emmys may not have a category for what a lot of people are doing. It might be not a music film or a band type film that there's not really a category for that in the Emmys that I'm aware of. So short versions or short indie films like that need to have a place, because some of them are very impactful. They do a great job of hitting the point right on the head and getting out.
They have 3 categories. They have a film feature, a film short, green screen. They're talking about that, whatever. So there'll be opportunities for people to enter their work. And What do you think of this idea?
I think it's great. I think we need to be patient. It takes a couple of years to build these up and learn how to do it. What you can do at these film festivals, and they do it most of them, is have clinics as well, so that beginning filmmakers can come there, meet the people who are buying films and distributing films, and also see the gear that other filmmakers are using. So it can be a learning experience, and so in that way, it's great for all ages. I go to them simply because the people who make the cameras that I'm using are there, and I can talk to them about things. What if I did this? What if I hacked this and did this? Well, your warranty's going to go out, or I can find out very quickly what the limits are of something and see things that have never been out in the public before they are. And so that if you're trying to stay on top of that pile, you'd better go. Yep. And in this case, I have a list of 1,500 filmmakers all over the world that I'll be trying to get to be involved in this film festival, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds. I got to ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
Any chance that we'll be able to see a Mark Emery Film School someday here in Marion County?
In some form or another in the next couple of years, yes. I have. I'm still in discussions with Silver Springs and would love to do it through them, but I'd still be involved in doing something like that, and also bringing in my friends in their particular areas of expertise.
It'd be awesome, but bringing in what you with your resources and time and connections, and then your teaching ability, and then your own filmmaking. What a wonderful place, what an asset would be to this community to have you and your film school at Silver Springs or wherever it might be. So I'm rooting for that. I hope that happens.
All right. Well, me too. And we're very close on some things right now. We'll just see what happens, and you'll be the first to know.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for an entertaining hour, and thank you for all you do to the community. And once again, congratulations to you and Mary. I know she deserves at least half
Absolutely.
of it for coming through with another Emmy, and we're proud of you, Mark.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Mark Emery. Always good to have Mark. We'll take a break, come back. We got just a couple of tweets and quotes, and we're getting ready for sports. Stay tuned to the Voice of Ocala right here on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Dry, itchy, scaly skin? Do you have psoriasis? Consider joining our research study. Renstar Medical Research in Ocala is conducting a research study evaluating the effectiveness of investigational combination of two study medications for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. You may qualify if you're between the ages of 18 and 75 and have been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis for at least 6 months. For more information, please call Renstar in Ocala at 352-629-5800. Qualified participants may receive study-related medical care and study medication. Compensation for time and travel may also be provided. To find out more information about this psoriasis study, please call Renstar Medical Research at 352-629-5800. That's 352-629-5800. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's national magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on.
Your home for Florida State football all season long. WOCA, The Source.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to David Carmel. He's coming out to speak about his book, Appointments. It's a novel of life in our nation's capital.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events are bite-sized.
And then Hank Whittier will be in the studio bringing you veterans news as he does each and every Thursday.
Let's talk golf with PGA professional and golf college founder James Beckett.
And then the guys that kept us cool all summer long will keep us warm when the weather gets cold. These are the guys from Climate Control Mechanical Services. They'll be in the studio studio to answer your questions about what they do to make sure the climate is controlled in your home.
Ann Shannon is the director of the Volunteer and Senior Services Program for Ocala Health System, and Marie Palacio is an occupational therapist for Strive Physical Therapy. They'll be in the studio speaking about the Senior Wellness Community Center.
All of that plus fun with Joe. Robin, I think I have some more word ladders.
Yay!
On the next AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
News Talk 1370, WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults, so use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000. 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Welcome back to the program. We wrap up hour 2 of the show. Thanks to Mark Emery, who
always is good radio, buddy.
Always good radio, and he's racking up the hardware. I mean, people are beginning to recognize the genius that he is, and and what's cool about it, and I can say this even now because he's gone, but I won't embarrass you. But in addition to the fact he's a really great guy. He is.
Yeah, he's awesome.
As good as it gets for a guy. I mean, you just can't ask for a nicer person. And the guy represents our community, so he's a treasure for our county. We should all be grateful that we live in the same county with people like Mary and Mark Emery. They're just, and they do so many good things. If you remember, Tom, we had the Joneses on because of him. The Skills Day Center.
Yeah, of course.
Because Mark is the one who pointed out to us what their needs were. We have to have him on again and get updated with them. But he has a heart for people in need, and he just does great things for people in his community. So anyway, I'm just a big fan. I'm sorry if I'm going a little bit over the top with it, but I just think it's such a nice thing to have a guy like him in my community and be a friend of the shows.
You know, really, and the thing is, this is an internationally famous guy. This is an internationally famous guy.
Yeah, I guess so. He's got 2 Emmys.
Right here in Ocala, and is accessible to the point where he comes on our radio show. He does things.
Yeah, he's a lapse in doing that. That was his, he stepped down for him to do that.
But Mark Emery, I mean, he helps people like the Skills Day Center. That's just a community thing. That's not something internationally known, but he takes time out to assist them.
Yeah. By the way, for those people who didn't hear by now, I imagine most of you did, the election's over, and Susie Heinbachel, the incumbent on the city council, was defeated by Brent Molliver, a longtime Ocalan. We had him on the show here, 2 weeks ago, and talked about their differences of opinion. I think one of the things that Brent Molliver scored on was the city employees and helping the fire. I know there's a lot of firemen that are out campaigning for Brent. When I passed on the way home, passing down from 17th Avenue, crossing 441, 301, I saw a lot of firemen campaigning, and one of his things he said was there were a lot of employees who were not happy, and I think those were people who didn't get their raises, et cetera, et cetera. So he's campaigned on a promise to help the city employees. He's also got the challenge of watching the budget. That's going to be the tricky thing. So he will be joining. Of course, we had Jim Hilty, which we had on, and because he wasn't opposed by anybody, we didn't have a lot of conversation with him because we really didn't know much about what his points were. But anyway, we'll have him on later, so it's set up, and now, of course, Jay Bossy is back. Let's finish up with tweets and quotes real quick. On a Wednesday, number 1, a man needs a little madness or else he never dares to cut the rope and be free. Nikos Kazantakis. Number 2, nurture your mind with great thoughts, but you'll never go any higher than you think. Benjamin Disraeli. And finally, this great philosopher, Will Ferrell, if guns kill people, then spoons make people fat.
rock tonight. Crazy rock, every little
Will Ferrell got that exactly right. Good for him.
I thought you'd like that. So anyway, that wraps up the hour. Coming up, we're talking about the selection committee. What's that all about? And we've got a special guest, Andy Curtin from Legends. We'll kind of break it down for you. All coming up next on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price of fixed rate allowance.
Warning, there's been a zombie outbreak in Marion County.
Do you feel like a zombie in your old car? Are you embarrassed to be seen driving around town? Are your monthly payments sucking the life out of you?
You may be driving dead. Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. If you're driving dead, I've got the cure. All you need is $13 down to drive alive in a nicer, newer car today.
Why drive a car that rots your brain when you can drive a car that's not a pain?
Put just $13 down and feel alive in a nicer, newer ride. Plus, my guaranteed credit approval process could bring you back to life. Even if bad credit has held you back in the past, I'm saving Marion County residents from driving dead.
So trade in your terrifying old ride, bring in $13 to put down, and drive home today.
I believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car, and this week it only takes $13. But hurry, this offer ends once we've revived 47 drivers. My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or call 694-1234. Yes, 694-1234. See our Prestige.
Dr. Seaborn Hunt, board-certified ophthalmologist, the only ophthalmologist in Marion County offering bladeless laser cataract surgery with astigmatism correction. What does this mean to you? It means that your cataract surgery would be done with the newest and most advanced cataract surgical techniques on the market today. It means no more metal blades and more precise incisions. Laser cataract surgery combined with the new technology multifocal lens implants allows you the opportunity to be independent of glasses for most things that you do on a daily basis. Call Dr. Seaborn Hunt at 873-7200. That's 873-7200.
This is Austin Tapman reminding you to stay in contact with us at WOCA. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at Voice of Ocala. Make sure to become a friend of our Facebook page and call us at 622-9622.
If it happens in Ocala, you'll hear it first on WOCA News Talk 1370.
Ugh,
what wrong?
Ugh, need wood for fire.
Ugh, I go get. Ugh, I got wood for fire.
Ugh, what takes so long?
Had to use restroom. Someone not refill toilet paper.
Ugh, my bad. You wash hands?
Ugh, of course. Ugh, what caveman you take me for?
You know, Dan, people who save money by switching to Mike Scott Plumbing sure are happy.
Well, Brittany, how happy are they?
Happier than a caveman with indoor plumbing.
Yep. Get happy. Get Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. 237-2888.
The tradition continues with the Florida Blues and Music Festival, part of the Bud Light Concert Series. Saturday, October 26th at the Sarasota Fairgrounds with an all-star lineup of national acts you'll love, featuring the Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band, Rick Eastron and the Nightcaps with special guest Little Charlie.
Well, it was day number 3 at sea.
Papa Chubby.
Well, I love you, little girl. I am through with you.
And more. Tickets are on sale now, and VIP packages are still available. For tickets or more information, visit us online at FloridaBluesAndMusicFest.com or check us out on Facebook. You can also head over to your local Sarasota or Manatee County Walgreens for a local resident discount. You'll save $5 a ticket. A portion of the proceeds will go to benefit All Faiths Food Bank. Brought to you by Florida Blue and Bud Light.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Next time you get a fountain drink at a fast food joint, you might want to skip the ice. That's because samples found that their ice contained higher levels of bacteria than samples of water taken from their toilets. You and I may have a virtual doppelganger out there. That's somebody with a nearly identical name and email address as you. keep the office at about 75, 77 degrees, you'll see productivity soar and your workers will feel much happier.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Probably made some money in your 401k today. The government may be a step closer to reopening as well. The Senate and the House are set to vote tonight to fund the government through January and to raise the debt ceiling through February. Stocks surged on that news. Many women visit a neighborhood med spa for laser hair removal. The name implies a doctor is somewhere in the mix, right? Well, the journal JAMA Dermatology says maybe not. More procedures are being done by nurses or even estheticians, and the number of injuries is up in recent years. Are you ready for some more football? The NFL is worried about low ratings of its Thursday night game. Must be that it's the game that all the fans want to see. So it's going to add another one that night. Consider this your warning, gridiron widows and widowers. You probably listened to at least one of them when you were growing up. Kiss, Linda Ronstadt, Hall & Oates, and LL Cool J are all among the nominees for the 2014 class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is ABC News.
Mike Rowe here. So I'm at a Ford dealer talking with customers about how taking care of your car is kind of like taking care of yourself. And I asked, which is in better shape, you or your car?
I would say my car.
Probably the car, because as you get older, you start breaking down.
I wish I could say I was diligent about my body as I am with a car.
Who's in better shape, you or the Ford Edge?
I have a bad wheel, I must say,
right.
But I do take care of my car.
It may be time for you to see the experts at your Ford dealer for a routine vehicle checkup. And for a limited time, increase your stopping power with a $40 mail-in rebate on any Motorcraft brake service. That's the professional service you expect, the peace of mind you deserve, and $40 back in your pocket.
My dad always said if you take care of your car will take care of you.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yes, you do.
You got to take care of your baby.
Oh, yeah.
Taxes extra, rebate by check, pads or shoes on most vehicles, one axle, exclusions apply. See participating Ford dealer for rebate details through 12/31/13.
How much time? 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Okay. Enough kidding around.
Ho, 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 ho.
And now it's time for the Buddy Martin Sports Page.
He actually had me stay here last night in his gym.
It's like I don't fit in. It's like I don't belong here.
Let's go talk to a couple of guys that never gamble.
Oh, see, I made Lewis a bet here. See, Lewis bet me that we couldn't both get rich and put you on the poorhouse at the same time. He didn't think we could do it.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
And now, here's Buddy.
All right, welcome to the Sports Page on a Wednesday. It's time to talk sports. Before we get to the headlines and the baseball score going on, all you Dodger fans and Cardinal fans out there, waiting on the edge of your chairs. Today on the program, we'll have Andy Curtin from the Legends, a guy who heads up a group of former coaches who are quite an illustrious group of coaches. We're going to get his take on what he thinks, which one of his coaches should have been on the selection committee, which is now out. I forget, was it 12 members they have? 14, whatever it was. And we got the list. Now, we're going to kind of do a little research today. Each of us has taken a couple of people of the selection committee. We're going to look them up and talk about their backgrounds. And we know most of them, but a few we don't. So we thought we'd do a little homework on that. But clearly this will be a controversial group that a lot of people aren't going to agree with because, A, they have a lot of power. B, they've taken the place of the BCS, and as much as we criticize the BCS, let's be honest, the results have been pretty good for a lot of folks especially the SEC, naturally, and has produced millions and millions of dollars that weren't in the coffers 7 years ago. So that's a factor. And then there's certain things about how they operate. They're going to operate behind closed doors. Well, yeah. They'll be behind, all the business will be behind closed doors. I haven't heard any more details of that yet, and I really am not qualified to criticize it because I don't know what they're going to do. But those are things that concern me. And today it's reasonable to sort of vet some of these people and say, who are they? And let's see if we can discern what their qualifications are and whether we think there's other people out there that should be on this committee. Too late now, but I mean, just the idea, we got to hold them up to accountability. So that's our job here on the show.
Why can't we film the basketball committee and the football committees when they're talking about all this?
Look, I want you to know what they're doing.
Yeah, why not?
Buddy,
because guys like you will be campaigning for the Miami Hurricanes all the time.
Buddy, I got to break in. I just got a text from a source at the Ocala Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
Not as sports related. It's about the bank robbery yesterday.
Yes.
Not only was the bank robbery here, it also looks like they're looking at the same suspect for robbing a bank in Bushnell yesterday as well.
I saw that story today.
And they're still looking for him. They haven't no confirmed sightings, but the FDLE is now involved. So I just got that back from a source at the police department.
Okay. Thanks for the update. We were just talking about that earlier, what happened there. We know they think he robbed the two banks just hours apart in Bushnell and here. So we'll keep you updated on that. Also, with that little dog that we're going to keep you up to date on. What was the name? Duncan Malloy. So we'll tell you about that in the non-sports hour. Okay, JJ, it's time to look at the news.
I thought you were talking about Dustin Pedroia.
Now, wait a minute.
He's a little puppy. He's running around, hustling.
He does hustle.
Right now, it is 2-0 right now. The Cardinals just got a hit, have a man on first. But this is game
2-0. The Dodgers are winning?
Yes, this is game 5. They're down 3-1 in the series right now. Yeah. It is the top of the third. It is in L.A. Greinke is pitching against Kelly. Not a lot of people know all these Cardinals starters' names, but folks, they're very good.
Yeah, they don't. It's funny. They're kind of there's no names that jump off the page
exactly.
at you.
You got Lynn, another one, a rookie last night. Sort of got hit a little last night.
Lynn, you don't know who Lynn is? He's all the rage. He's huge.
Now I know who he is. But Jake
they know Yasiel Puig, by the way.
Yeah.
They know Puig, and he's a rookie.
Yes.
So.
Jake Peavy tonight, I know him, and I know Doug Fister. They will be pitching Red Sox against the Tigers. Mm-hmm. Red Sox won last night to make it a 2-1 lead for them. That game's at 8 o'clock on Fox. Red Sox 1-0 winners yesterday. Off the bat of Mike Napoli, Verlander gave up a home run, and that was the only
first time a team has lost 1-0 games in 2-1 games in playoff history. That the pitcher was the same in both games. Verlander, he's lost 2 playoff games now.
He doesn't give up many runs, but he's not getting a lot of run support. Today in Game 5 of the Dodgers series, Hanley Ramirez is playing. Another person that we'll be playing that we haven't seen play in a long time, Josh Freeman, quarterback of the new Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings starter.
Yes, he will start this weekend. And
by the way, my mistake, JJ, you were right.
About what?
Because you and I had the discussion. I said there's no way he'll be starting if Castle does well. And you said it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
he's
it doesn't
starting.
matter. He's better than
and you're
Castle. Right. And last night, pretty interesting in the world of soccer. This is the last day of World Cup qualifying was yesterday, so we pretty much know who's in it now. Mexico was on the edge of not going, and that's a huge deal for a country like Mexico where that's all they care about. The USA had to win a game where they didn't even need to be out on the field. They've already qualified, but they ended up scoring 2 goals in the last 3 minutes of the game.
In stoppage time.
To beat Panama and send Mexico, even though Mexico lost.
Oh, so they sent Mexico to the thing?
Yes.
Well,
and now you should
game.
see all, which they will win against New Zealand, but you should see all the newspaper headlines in the Mexican
God
papers
bless
day.
America.
Yeah, it has
No. I saw one. Viva la Gringos.
But yeah, it's pretty big day. Panama, all the players crying after the game. Mexico, very happy. So Mexico will be in the World Cup.
All right.
If they beat New Zealand, which JJ guarantees they'll do.
Guarantee that happens.
So what is the World Cup, by the way? When does
next
it start?
summer.
Yeah, but what month does it start?
June to July.
Yeah. Are you going to Colombia or someplace, JJ?
It's in Brazil, buddy.
But aren't you going down to Brazil somewhere?
For the game? Yeah, I got media pass.
You got tickets, right?
He's got media passes.
In fact, you'll be covering the game, right? Is that right?
Actually, the United States is one of the leading countries in people asking for tickets. So You would think soccer's not a big country or big sport in this country, but there's a lot of fans out there now. It's getting bigger.
One story you didn't touch on, I think, is kind of interesting. You know, the whole thing now, we heard yesterday that Irsay reportedly said Peyton begged him to draft.
Yes.
Said you got to take him number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Don't be
You'd
an
be
idiot.
crazy if
You'd
you
be crazy
would.
not to.
Right. And now the story comes out today. Tony Dungy says Jim Irsay's perceived criticism of Peyton Manning just days before the 4-time MVP returns in that was probably strategically motivated. So Dungy thinks that this is part of what the deal, how he got him out, how he got him. And I thought Peyton showed amazing restraint in that press conference. He went out with class in Indianapolis. A guy who was a legend in that town. They'll build a statue to him. I don't know if Andrew Luck will get a statue or not, but Peyton will get a statue in Indianapolis. And now, it's apparently, according to the story, and all people, Tony Dungy doesn't get very controversial. He says that this was all orchestrated by Irsay.
He says he thinks that it is to get Peyton's mind off the game between the Colts and the Broncos and to get it on to something else.
Yeah, well, in this game, yeah.
Right.
To get to which, by the way, how are they ever going to get Peyton's mind on anything but football? Omaha,
But in a
Papa John.
Some of what, even though the timing was bad, what Irsay said was exactly correct. A league, you decide who's the best in this league by Super Bowl championships. And he watched the Patriots win 3 and the Giants win 2 and the Ravens win 2. And he had the best quarterback in the game throwing up, Madden football game numbers. But the fact of the matter is they were out in the first round 7 of 11 years and only won 1 Super Bowl.
Listen to this quote.
That's a fact.
From Tony Dungy. Without Peyton, there would be no Lucas Oil Stadium. This team would be playing in L.A. right now. I don't understand Jim saying that. That is really strong from Tony Dungy.
That is really, but what Jim Irsay said was accurate. I don't know that it needed to be said.
Well, here's the quote. He said, Irsay explained, he said, when they drafted him, he says, we've changed our model a little bit because we wanted more than 1 Super Bowl ring. That's a slap in the face.
Of course. No, I'm not saying it's not a slap in the face. But people are saying Irsay, that what he was saying was he needs to realize Peyton Manning's the reason he's where he is. But what he said about winning Super Bowls is exactly correct. As a Braves fan, and JJ can speak this as a Bills fan, it's great the Braves got to the National League playoffs all those years in a row, and it's great that they got to the World Series. Fact of the matter is they still only won 1 World Series.
Let me go on the record about Irsay right now, okay? And I'll tell you about this
he's
later.
a drunk. I'm well aware.
No, not him. His dad was the drunk.
Oh.
His dad's okay in that regard, but his dad was he's the guy that stiffed Jacksonville in the first place.
Yeah,
told him he was coming there and then didn't go.
I remember
he shopped the franchise
boy of 11
all over.
years old.
He shopped the team all over the country about moving the team there. And then what happened was he came to Denver, and the owner, Edgar Kaiser of the Broncos, took him out and got him drunk one night. He made the trade for Elway. So he hadn't signed Elway, and so he made the trade, and Elway, and the Broncos got Elway. And Irsay, the Irsay family doesn't have a great track record. I know Jim Irsay is not guilty of his father's sins, but when you look at it close, real close, you think the spots are some of the same leopard.
Well, somebody said today, I saw it today, they traded Johnny Unitas, they traded John Elway, and they cut Peyton Manning. Not really good track record.
And that might, and that he can't, but Peyton can't wait to get a piece of that. So he'll, that's going to be interesting.
He's
All
going
right,
to get a hero's welcome though, for sure.
Well, of course he will. Why would he's about as big. He's the biggest icon in the history of the
There's
city.
probably going to be more Manning jerseys than Luck.
There are going to be a lot of them there.
There's only one other guy in the state of Indiana that equals the popularity of Peyton Manning, and that's Larry Bird. It's the only other guy that could even come close to Peyton Manning's popularity.
Yeah, and in Indianapolis, I still think he's the man.
Oh, I'm sure.
Here, Irsay is qualifying this comment about Super Bowls. My comment meant if we gave Peyton better SP teams in defense, we would have won more than 1 Super Bowl instead of asking Peyton to do too much.
That's not what he said.
Come on,
not
man.
what he said.
Come on, please.
He said Peyton Manning was a great quarterback, but he couldn't win the big game, so we went in another direction. That's what he said.
We're going over the time. We got a guest coming up. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll be with Andy Curtin from Legends after this time out on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Having the motivation and making the commitment to quit smoking is a great first step towards becoming smoke-free. However, anyone who's tried to quit smoking knows how challenging it can be. Having the determination to quit may not be enough. You may need some help. If you're ready to quit smoking and are between the ages of 18 and 75, currently smoke 10 or more cigarettes a day, and can commit to participating for 24 weeks, you may be interested in a research study which is being conducted to evaluate the use of investigational drugs to see if they can aid individuals in their quest to quit smoking. To help you quit, smoking cessation counseling and all study-related medical care will be provided at no extra cost. You may also be reimbursed for your travel time. To receive more information about this study, how you can participate, please call Rinstar Medical Research in Ocala at 352-629-5800. That's Rinstar Medical Research in Ocala, 352-629-5800. Since 1976, Daniel L. Hightower, a lawyer, has been fighting for accident victim justice in North Central Florida and statewide. He believes everyone in America should follow the rules, including the insurance companies. He and his firm have experience fighting for victims of personal injury, wrongful death, workers' compensation, and Social Security disability, as well as serving those in need of help with bankruptcy, simple wills, and estate plans. The mission at the law offices of Daniel L. Hightower, PA, is to represent deserving clients and recover the maximum benefits they are entitled to by law in a timely manner. In personal injury and workers' compensation cases, there are no fees or costs unless a recovery is made. The law office of Daniel L. Hightower is located at 7 East Silver Springs Boulevard, Suite 300. For your free consultation, call 352-629-7777 or 1-888-LAW-1976 and visit danhightower.com for more information. Daniel L. Hightower, PA lawyer, fighting for accident victim justice, and the proud sponsor of Ask the Cops.
Hi, this is Tom Schmitz, the host of Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA. The Saturday Sports Page is your weekend destination for everything sports, from NASCAR to golf, baseball to boxing, and of course the best, most comprehensive football coverage on the radio. Also, you don't want to miss my weekly Are You Kidding Me rant? So join me and JJ LaSalva every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for Buddy's Saturday Sports Page on WOCA, The Source.
On the next AM Ocala Live, Robin and I will be speaking to David Carmel. He's coming out to speak about his book, Appointments. It's a novel of life in our nation's capital.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events are bite-sized.
And then Hank Whittier will be in the studio bringing you veterans news as he does each and every Thursday.
Let's talk golf with PGA professional and golf college founder James Beckett.
And then the guys that kept us cool all summer long will keep us warm when the weather gets cold. These are the guys from Climate Control and Mechanical Services. They'll be in the studio to answer your questions about what they do to make sure the climate is controlled in your home.
Ann Shannon is the director of the Volunteer and Senior Services Program for Ocala Health System, and Marie Palacio is an occupational therapist for Strive Physical Therapy. They'll be in the studio speaking about the Senior Wellness Community Center.
All of that plus fun with Joe. Robin, I think I have some more word ladders.
Yay!
On the next AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Hey, it's Christy with Ocala Mac and PC Repair and Ocala Guest Wi-Fi to let you know we have you covered. We are the only local certified Apple and Microsoft computer company in Ocala. We are family owned and operated. From mobile repair to wireless networks, viruses, new systems, or security cameras, we do it all. Check us out online, ocalamacpc.com, or give us a call, 352-566-8324.
Tell them Nick, Madison, or Mason sent you and get free diagnostic.
Get your internet telephone service from the company that brought affordable internet service to Ocala in the first place. All Is Safe is a sister company of Ocala Guest Wi-Fi, a company you've known and trusted for all your internet needs. Whether you need a phone or hundreds, we've got the products and services to meet your needs both now and in the future. Our plans include everything from local and long-distance calling to equipment maintenance and even software upgrades. You can count on All Is Safe to give you cost certainty knowing that your bill will be the same next week, next month, or even next year. Call 352-450-8647 today to learn how to cut your monthly telephone bill up to 60%.
Universal Soil Solutions wants to know when the last time you took a good look at your property. Noticed any driveway cracks, stair-step cracks in your block, or even foundation cracks? It may or may not be a sinkhole, but a visual inspection by a trained professional must be performed. Experts in sinkhole remediation, cosmetics, remodeling, and even complete construction development. Universal Soil Solutions provides that inspection for free. To schedule your free property inspection, you must call now, 877-519-2777. That's 877-519-2777.
Welcome back to the program. I'm looking at this Legends poll members, and this is a group that formed in 2005. Andy Curtin met with these coaches, and they began doing a poll and getting together and do group things. And there's quite a distinguished list of people on this poll, which has been active now. And these coaches watch film, and they talk, have conference calls, and they watch game DVDs. And so I'm looking at this list. I see one person that's been plucked from this group already. Tom Osborne, former Nebraska coach, is on the selection committee. There are other names on this, however, that look pretty impressive. And on the phone with us now is Andy Curtin, who was started this whole thing back in Thomasville, Georgia in 2005. And Andy, we've talked on the phone a couple of times about this, but you start taking off the names: Bobby Bowden, Frank Burrows, John Cooper, Fisher DeBerry, Vince Dooley, Lavelle Evers, and on. You wonder, why did these guys get passed over for the selection committee?
I don't have an answer for that, buddy. I was talking to Tom Osborne today, and he said he was going on to the press conference call for the naming of the selection committee, and I was brought up the exact question. I said, why aren't more of our guys out there, Hall of Fame coaches? And, they have Barry Alvarez on that selection committee, and Tom are the only two Hall of Fame coaches. The only other coach on the selection committee is Tyrone Willingham, who has a losing record as a head football coach in college. You think they could have done a better job by picking one of our Hall of Fame coaches than putting Tyrone Willingham on there, too. And also, he's been fired by Washington and by Notre Dame. So if, ever comes to where he has to make a decision about one of those schools, he may not be so willing to be objective in figuring, in deciding where they belong.
And yet, I know it would be hard to say, pick out special people, but if for instance, I say, I've got 3 spots for you on this committee. You can put 3 names for. I'm going to be able to give them to the committee, and they're going to get named to this group. If you had to pick 3 names, which 3 would you pick?
You mean besides Tom?
Yeah, with 3 more names.
I would probably go with Vince Dooley for sure.
Okay, he won. He was in coach 25 seasons. He won 201 games and a national championship. Right.
And he had a Herschel Walker guy as a Heisman Trophy, which helped him win that national.
Yes, he did.
The other 2 spots. Terry Donahue sees an awful lot of football. He broadcasts the game every week. And, of course, if you wanted to add something on there, he gives you a West Coast guy. John Robinson's very good, too, but they're both from the same city, Los Angeles.
They're rivals.
And Pat Hayden is already on the committee from USC, so I don't think Robinson would get things. But I would go with Dooley and Donahue, and then I get, there's a guy that really does not like to do a lot of radio, but behind the scenes he's great. He really knows his football and just speaks out. He doesn't care anything at all about what people think. And that's George Welsh from Virginia. George really, really understands. We were talking about Monday on our conference call. We asked George if he thought how Florida State might do up at Clemson this week. And at first he started out by saying, well, I played Clemson 18 times. And he's 9 of them at Clemson. He said, boy, it's really hard to win there. And he was starting to think about it. And then he said, all of a sudden, well, wait a minute, though. Clemson's defense isn't as good as Florida State's. And he said, if Florida State's quarterback plays like he's been playing, he thinks he'd give them the nod. But, taking everything into consideration, that's why you need to know football to be on that committee. You can't, our guys know things like how tough it is to play in Blacksburg, Virginia, or in Corvallis, Oregon on a Thursday night. Ask Southern Cal about that when I went in there a few years ago and got beat by Jacquizz Rodgers and those guys at Oregon State. Our guys know these things because they've gone through them all, And it's just amazing that we got bypassed on this thing.
Well, and looking at the other side of the coin, those are 3 good names, by the way. And certainly you could throw out names like Fisher DeBerry and Gene Stallings and so on and so forth. But the one thing I want to say in behalf of the people who made this select this committee, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but we'll see, is that they have a lot of things. They have a lot of mandates They have to be politically correct. That means they have to have at least one female. Condoleezza Rice is that female. They have to have African-American representation. They've got that. They can't have two guys from L.A., like you said. Can't have too many SEC guys, too many ACC guys, and so on and so forth. So geography and political correctness has to play a part in this, and that's unfortunate. But to me, the most important thing is what you said. They know football. They watch football. They're a student of the game and continue to watch it. To me, I want someone who's glued to that TV and watches every game, every weekend, and then studies film during the week so they can tell me unequivocally why Jameis Winston is not going to have a good game against Clemson, if that's the case. So that's my take. Is that similar to what you feel?
Yeah, and the other thing, I've been watching games pretty much like 12, 13, 14 hours a day every Saturday and Thursday night.
I feel you, man. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
For the last 9 years, okay? And I played high school football, and I played on a club football team in college. But I certainly still don't know as much. I could not take the place of a Vince Dooley or a Tom Osborne or a Gene Stallings on the selection committee. Any one of our coaches, like I said, we got 16 coaches on our list. 15 are in the Hall of Fame. And if they hadn't changed a rule a couple of years ago, Bill Mallory would have been in too. But they changed the rule, and he can't get in now because of his record. And he was very, very close to having the required number or winning percentage of 60%. But think of the guys that we don't even have on our poll anymore. Bobby Ross was on our poll. Hayden Fry, Bo Schembechler. He died on our poll. He was on a call with us on a Wednesday, and he died less than 48 hours later. And we had Bill Snyder from Kansas State, and we had John Ralston, and we had Frank Cush. A number of these guys have had health problems and dementia problems and things like that. And Don James had a drop. Don James is fighting cancer right now. He's seeking chemotherapy treatments and that. And, we've had the most, the best coaches that have coached in the last 50, 60 years on this poll just about. And a few guys like Ara Parsegian wasn't able to participate with us because he had a higher calling to help, work on a foundation for his grandchildren. They all died of a Niemann-Pick's type 2 disease or I think that's what it was called. And he just said, it's more important to him to work on that than to work on football. And so we had to applaud him for that. But he would have been on our poll. He said I would do it otherwise. And Lou Holtz would have been on, but he wouldn't. ESPN wouldn't let him be on our poll. But we've had all the important coaches on our poll. But like I said, as much as I know about the game and what I watch and listen to those guys, I still couldn't be. The only thing I could do if I was voting on that poll was I could ask these guys the right question, because that's basically what I do in my conference call with them every week. I'd say, why did this team do this, or why are they better than this? Why did our coaches know that Alabama was better than LSU a couple of years ago when LSU won the regular season game 9-6? And Alabama came back and trounced them in the championship game. Our coaches said, after the loss, they said, we know Alabama is still the better team. How come? They said, well, Saban made some mistakes in that game. He didn't run the ball enough when he was trying those field goals. He kept passing with McCarron, and he wasn't completing them. And he tried a couple of field goals just outside his guy's range, and they missed them. And they only lost by that one field goal. I think it was an overtime. But I think it was. But anyway, it was a 9-6 game. It was all field goals. But our guys know the answers. And if you're going to play in these games and you're going to get eliminated in the playoff, you're the fifth team that doesn't get into the 4-team playoff. Don't you want a coach who can tell you and say, the reason you didn't get picked is this?
Yeah.
Not, it's not like fantasy football where you got people that don't know football. I mean, when I say don't know it, I mean don't know it to the extent that these guys know it. Sure, all these guys might be football fans.
You got to be a student of the game.
Yeah. Remember Gene Bardo, the basketball coach?
Right, he was on the football poll for a while.
He was on the Harris poll, yeah. And Gene was a good friend of ours. We did a basketball thing for a couple of years with a whole bunch of, with John Wooden and a whole bunch of the famous coaches. Same thing we do here. And Gene goes, I don't know why they picked me, because he's athletic director at UAB. He says, I'm a football fan, but he said, I don't know football like your Legends poll coaches know football, But they needed people to vote, so he said he would do it for them. But he knew that he wasn't the best qualified guy out there. Right. So that's all I'm saying.
I got you. Andy Kurt's our guest. Some legends, a group of they have a poll, former college football coaches, Hall of Famers. I know you got records and championships and all that stuff, but let me ask this straight up question: who on this committee bothers you the most?
Well, not one of them bothers me the most because the people. I mean, I used to know Steve Weiberg, with USA Today. He's a sports writer.
Right.
I just don't think any sports writer belongs on there because, you need to ask the question, everybody that's on that committee should be asked, is there someone more qualified that could be on this committee? And for Steve Weiberg and for General Gould and for Tom Jernstedt, for Mike Tranghese, and for Condoleezza Rice, there's 5 people right there that anybody on the Legends poll is more qualified than any of those people.
Okay, so those are the ones you have a problem with, then. I see what you're saying.
Well, those are the ones, that are not real football people,
right.
And that's General Gould was on Fisher DeBerry's staff as a student or as a graduate assistant for 6 months, and he said I was mightily surprised that he was picked for the selection committee.
Yeah, Fisher would have been a good choice. There's no question. I know Fisher. He would be a very good one.
I mean, I know what they were trying. They're trying to get all this. Like you said, be politically correct. Get all these heavyweight people. Right. But if you were going for an operation, would you want the guy that was an Air Force general in the operating room with you? No, you'd want somebody that was a medical doctor in that specialty that you were being operated on for.
So, final question for Andy Kurt. Thanks for spending the time with us today. Appreciate it. You're in Nashville, right now?
Yes, Nashville.
And your thoughts? Do you think this thing will morph? Do you think this committee will be overturned? Will there be replacing the members? And what are the deficiencies? I mean, they're going to be dealing in behind closed doors. How much are we going to know? What concerns you the most about this? And will this committee change?
Well, I understand that they're going to take votes 5 times during the season next year, but it's not going to be transparent. So in other words, you're not going to know how each committee member voted, and that's something you can go to our website and see our coaches' votes every single week, our individual coaches, and we've been doing that the whole 9 years we've been doing this. We think that's one thing that should happen, and the other thing is that at the end of the season they need to come out and tell us exactly what happened. This is why team number 1 was picked, 2, 3, and 4, and this is why team 5 and 6 didn't make it. And somebody that knows football has to do that. And we just think that yes, the committee will probably evolve. They'll probably realize their mistake and put more coaches on after year 1, and maybe take some people off. After the political stuff kind of wears off. In other words, hey, we did this. We're the PC crowd here, and now we're going to now that trial balloon's over with, we'll put more coaches on and everything. At least all the 5 athletic directors that are on it, they all represent their own conferences, and so their commissioners will have a say on it. That's okay. And they all played college football, 2 at small schools and 3 at big schools. Yeah. And then Archie Manning's on it, and of course everybody knows Archie knows his football. So, he's great,
Yes, Andy, thanks for sharing the information and spending time with us, and we'll follow this closely. And we're going to have further discussions today about this and who we think would be good to replace the ones they've got. But it's interesting dialogue. Nothing will come of it, but let's kick it around and see what we can come up with. And I'd like to get you back on again sometime.
All right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy Curtin from Legends. There you have it. So I guess we're going to break it down now. We'll take a break here and come back. We'll break down some of the names of people that we think he gave us 5 that we can, and we researched a couple of these guys.
And
you guys
disagree
Google
with one of those 5.
All right. Well, we'll get you guys' take on what you found out about these guys you Google, and we'll tell you who they are. Also, address the question: are there rumblings about the head coach of the Florida Gators, Will Muschamp? Are there people so disenchanted after this loss? And, of course, they're facing Missouri now, and should they lose that game, it's going to be kind of a bleak look down the barrel when you look at South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida State. So are there enough grumblings to think about, well, what if Will Muschamp does lose 5 games this year? Will he be safe? Some say yes, some say no. One of them said yes, said no yesterday, and we'll tell you that was next, right here on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And so is State Farm agent Angie Lewis, working hard to serve her community as a citizen and insurance agent. Angie wants to help you as you adjust your insurance needs to your life. From everything to helping educate your teen driver to protecting your family against everyday risk. She wants to change the way you perceive insurance by developing relationships with her clients, which is why Angie and her staff are proud to be a part of so many good causes in Ocala. In turn, she has chosen to single out those who step up as leaders. Each month on the Voice of Ocala, Angie spotlights a good neighbor, saluting those who give exceptional service or do random acts of kindness to others. For this, Angie was written up in State Farm's National Magazine. Angie also supports local businesses with a regular Biz Buzz. The Angie Lewis State Farm Agency is located at 1122 Northeast 36th Avenue, where visitors are always welcome and the coffee pot is always on. Recently, I had a great conversation with General Manager Pat Murray on the special events at Country Club of Ocala.
We have a lot of events, special events here that are geared towards the family. Easter comes to mind. We have an Easter bunny who hops around on the driving range. We usually hide somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 eggs and turn them loose and let them go harvest the eggs. We have a great family celebration here on the 4th of July where it's a traditional cookout, if you will. And as the sun goes down, the driving range becomes alive with probably one of the better fireworks displays in the area. Breakfast with Santa is a big deal.
Country Club of Ocala, where the Easter Bunny, Santa, and all the children, large and small, are a big deal on every special occasion. For more information, call 352-237-6644. That's 352-237-6644. Country Club of Ocala, proud sponsor of the Monday Gator Report right here on The Source.
Your home for Florida State football all season long. WOCA, The Source.
Alice?
Yes, George. George, you're all wet.
I went to Devon Self-Storage and put back my fishing gear.
Okay. You know Devon Self-Storage is open early and you had all day to bring your fishing gear back. And they're right across from Hobby Lobby.
I know. I have my own code to get into Devon Self-Storage. And their phone number, too, is 873-0777.
So why did you wait till it started raining?
I didn't. I slipped getting the boat out of the water.
Boat?
Bye!
George?
Now is the time to take advantage of Florida Credit Union's CD specials. Our 36-month CD comes in at 1.26% APY. A 24-month is working for you at 1.0% APY. And our 12-month at 0.75% APY. All CD rate specials require $10,000 minimum. With friendly service and rates like these, it's not hard to see why Florida Credit Union has your CD options covered. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Call 352-237-8222 for more information.
How good does it get?
Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Where Florida? Some fog patches this morning, otherwise clouds and some intervals of sunshine today. Nothing more than a showered spots, the high 82 to 86. Tonight will end up clear to partly cloudy with just a shower along the coast, the low 65 to 69. Mostly sunny tomorrow and quite warm, high 86 to 90. On Friday, partly sunny, high again 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
WOCA, Ocala.
She got the Mercedes-Benz. She got a lot of pretty boys. She calls friends.
We're back on the Voice of Ocala Buddy Sports page. We just were talking to Andy Curtin of Legends.com, a poll of legendary coaches, Hall of Fame coaches. And we were talking about the selection committee for college football that has been put together. And when you meet this committee, buddy, there's a lot of people on here. You're like, who is that? Who is that? People I'd never heard of before.
Yeah, let's take that look at that committee right now. You got it in front of you. Go ahead and read off who they are. Let's talk about some of the guys or people that we've researched. At least let's say we Google them, and talk about the ones that you Google and what you found out about.
Well, you have the chair, Jeff Long, then Barry Alvarez, Lieutenant General Michael Gould, Pat Hayden, Tom Jernst. Then you have Oliver Luck, Archie Manning, Tom Osborne, Dan Radakovich, Condoleezza Rice, Mike Tranghese, Steve Weiberg, and Tyrone Willingham.
Okay.
Now, I looked up Tom Jernst and Lieutenant Michael Gould. And these were two names that Andy Curtin said some of our guys could replace them.
He questioned them, yeah.
And I agree with him on Lieutenant Michael Gould. This is a guy who played football at the Air Force Academy, then was a grad assistant for 6 months at the Air Force Academy, but then got his commission in the U.S. Air Force and ended up being the director of operations for U.S. Transportation Command. He was in charge of transportation of the Cheyenne Mountain Operations Center. He was in charge of the 3rd Air Force, Royal Air Force, Mendenhall, England transportation. He's been in transportation all his Air Force career. Now, he is the superintendent of the United States Air Force Academy, so he does work at he assumed that command on June 9th, 2009. But up until he left Fisher DeBerry's staff as a grad assistant to go into the Air Force, where he threw over 3,000 hours of fighter pilot time. And then he became, as he moved up in the ranks, he became in charge of the mobility plan of the Air Force. I don't know that justifies him to understand football, except more than a fan. I got a good replacement for him. How about, you want the Air Force connection? How about Fisher DeBerry, former Air Force head coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that name doesn't jibe. I mean, he may be a great guy and a student of the game, but it just doesn't seem to fit. When you say, let's talk to the most authoritative people in the world on college football, how about
he's a career
General
military
Gould,
man. He's a career military man.
Yeah, I mean, so you wonder about that one.
Now, Tom Jernst, who I looked up as well, he spent 38 years with the NCAA, beginning in '72, rising to the title of executive vice president, and most notably overseeing the men's basketball Final Four and working with the men's basketball selection committee.
So he's a basketball guy.
He's an Oregon native, former University of Oregon athlete. He's a past president of USA Basketball and a member of the College Basketball Hall of Fame. So that doesn't really, the football's not there, but at least they got somebody who understands how a selection committee and what goes into being into the room and making these kind of decisions and how much you have to, while he's not a football guy, he understands you got to watch a ton of basketball for those selection committees, so he understands the work that goes into being on this type of selection committee.
But he is a basketball guy. And,
he is a basketball guy.
And by the way, Austin's got a couple, and one of them is Mike Tranghese, who was the former commissioner of the Big East, and it was a basketball conference at that time mostly, although it's once was a football conference.
Miami was in the Big East.
I know, but it's now rapidly it's deteriorated quite a bit. Anyway, the point is he was known for his basketball. What do you got on Mike Tranghese?
There's really not much that I could find. I went to a couple sites. All of it just accredits him to starting the Big East. He was the first employee of the Big East, but he retired in 2009. He was also the sports information director at American International College as well as Providence. So much of his work was in basketball. That's really all I could find about Tranghese.
It says,
so a thin resume, at least.
Right. It says here that he was with the league at its inception and that he was the guiding force through the addition of football and later expansion and contraction of the Big East in both football and basketball.
Yeah. We know a little bit about him, but he's not a name synonymous with great nines on college football.
No. You ever wonder what Tyrone Willingham's doing right now for work?
No, I don't know what he's doing.
This is great. This is great.
Former Stanford and Notre Dame football coach.
Yeah.
This is great.
And University of Washington before that. He's now a volunteer assistant for the Stanford women's golf team, buddy.
Okay.
It's weird.
So now he's going to be deciding whether to put Alabama or Ohio State in the finals.
What's he going to do? Call Tiger and say, hey, could you get in touch with your niece and let her help me out?
They needed a female and they needed a minority, and that's exactly
all right, who was your second one, Austin?
Mine was Radakovich. And he's been the athletic director at Clemson since 2012. Before that, he was the AD at Georgia Tech from 06 to 2012. And he was also the AD when Georgia Tech got investigated by the NCAA and their 2009 ACC championship was taken away.
So he has some knowledge in the game, obviously, and I think Radakovich has been around football to know enough about it. All right, what was your second one, JJ?
I had Pat Hayden and Jeff Long. We pretty much know Pat Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, he's
NBC.
hey, first of all, he's a Rhodes Scholar. Let's get that up.
Rhodes Scholar, NFL quarterback, college
Fired
quarterback.
Kiffin, wouldn't let him go back on the bus.
Yeah.
Jeff Long, who's the head of all of this.
See, that surprises me. That's the biggest surprise to me, that he would accede to the head of this committee.
Yes.
Although I don't know the man.
Former Pittsburgh and current Arkansas athletic director. Fired Petrino recently. That's what he's known for right now.
He was a two-sport athlete at Ohio Wesleyan. Come on.
But, yeah, he's the head of the committee right now.
He may be very well qualified, and obviously he is. He wouldn't be there, but it's just a shock to me. I could understand.
Franz didn't think so the other day.
Well, maybe not, but I could see someone like, let's say, if I was going to pick somebody, I could even see Pat Hayden, although he has a conflict of interest, being elevated to that level. I could see probably Archie Manning would have been a very good one. I think
that'd been a great person to lead the committee.
Pick. I have no problem him being on there. Maybe Osborne, maybe not. And possibly even Oliver Luck, although he's currently also head of West
Do you
Virginia.
think they gave the nod maybe to Jeff Long because the SEC was like, the only way we're going to get behind this thing and all like you want us to is if we feel like we're well represented. And so you got the chair, you're well represented.
Well, you only have one Archie Manning. You've got Jeff Long for Arkansas, and you've got. Were there 3 SEC guys on there? I thought I only see two SEC guys on here. So,
which is why they gave him the head of the committee, because the SEC was like, look, if we don't back this, it's a it's a non-point. It's a moot point.
Now we know who we know. Anyway, that's the group as we know it. I like the selections of Manning. I'm okay with Osborne. I think Luck is good. I like Steve Weiberg. I think he's a knowledgeable guy. I disagree with our guest, Andy Curtin. I think sports writers who follow the game and study it closely are very good because they're objective. I don't know about Jeff Long. Barry Alvarez is good. I think Pat Hayden is good. Beyond that, I flip a coin. So, all right.
Pat Nye said you never put your hand in the dirt as a reporter. You don't know the game.
There you go. Let's take a break, come back. We're going to wrap it up with comments about Will Muschamp. Is he in trouble feeling the heat in Gainesville? Well, we'll find out next right here on Buddy Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Hi, this is Lisa Midget, owner of Kinetic Motion Fitness here in Ocala, Florida. A lot of you have experienced our great classes in personal small group training, but did you know we now offer dynamic workouts on DVD? These high-quality, locally produced, effective DVD workouts can go where you go. Going on vacation? No problem. We can go with you. Friends and relatives out of town who are jealous that you get to come to KMF? No problem. We ship anywhere in the United States for free. Our great lineup of 4 DVDs includes Kinetic Achieve, Kinetic Couples, Kinetic Core, and Kinetic Campus. 4 great workouts for the entire family on DVD. Sound interesting? Check them out on our website at kmfocala.com. While you're there, check out our class schedule and come see us. We're only 5 minutes from downtown across from the Skylark Plaza. Visit kmfocala.com and like us on Facebook. KMF will get you results at our studio or at home with one of our DVDs. Kinetic Motion Fitness. We're ready when you are. Visit kmfocala.com for more information.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price fixed rate allowance.
Warning, there's been a zombie outbreak in Marion County.
Do you feel like a zombie in your old car? Are you embarrassed to be seen driving around town? Are your monthly payments sucking the life out of you?
You may be driving dead. Hey, this is Chris Spears from Prestige Auto Sales. If you're driving dead, I've got the cure. All you need is $13 down to drive alive in a nicer, newer car today.
Why drive a car that rots your brain when you can drive a car that's not a pain?
Put just $13 down and feel alive in a nicer, newer ride. Plus, my guaranteed credit approval process could bring you back to life. Even if bad credit has held you back in the past, I'm saving Marion County residents from driving dead.
So trade in your terrifying old ride, bring in $13 to put down, and drive home today.
I believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car, and this week it only takes $13. But hurry, this offer ends once we've revived 47 drivers. My name is Chris Spears, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Visit Prestige Auto Sales in Ocala or call 694-1234. Yes, 694-1234. See our Prestige.
For illnesses and minor injuries, visit Family Care Specialists Urgent Care offices with 2 convenient locations. Our North Ocala office is at 1111 Northeast 25th Avenue, and our Bellevue office is at 4850 Southeast 110th Street, right next to Walgreens. The medical team at Urgent Care can also handle well child and well adult exams, school and work physicals, immunizations, laboratory services, EKGs, and x-rays. Most insurances are accepted. Walk-ins are welcome. Family Care Specialist Urgent Care for illnesses and minor injuries.
It's cold in here. Ooh, it's hot in here.
It's just right in this house.
Looks like 1 out of 3 know about climate control mechanical services in Ocala. The first didn't call 291-0185. The second didn't know to call 291-0185. The third called 291-0185. So the moral of the story? To know is one thing, but to know and take action is another. Climate control mechanical services. Just right.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Tom Schmitz, after a tough loss last week, Trinity Catholic looking to bounce back this week on the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night high school football game of the week.
That's right, Tom James. They're welcoming in PK Young from Gainesville. This should really be a good football game for Trinity. Coming off a tough loss, they should have an easy time with PK Young.
All right, pregame 6:45, kickoff at 7 o'clock on Friday night.
For the McDonald Allstate Agency Friday night game of the week right here on WOCA,
The Source.
She got the moon in her eye.
All right, we're jamming as much as we can. Update the baseball score, JJ. The Dodgers going on with the Cardinals.
Dodgers winning 3-2 in the 5th.
Okay. All right, we've addressed the issue of selection committee. We get back to something we had to talk about. We'll talk about some more tomorrow, but some people are saying that Will Muschamp should start to feel the heat if he loses to Missouri. Our conversation yesterday talked about the lack of offense, whether or not there were more playmakers on defense, and if there were, why wouldn't they put more of those guys on offense? They don't have playmakers. We had that discussion. Holding teams to under 21 points is nice. If you can only score 15 or 14 or 6, it's not going to help you much if you can't score. So that's clearly the issue. The question is now, with the games looming he's got ahead, Missouri being a tough one, by the way, and the imposing schedule of Georgia, South Carolina, Florida State, what's going to happen? We can't predict the future. Is Will Muschamp feeling the heat? Are Gator fans unhappy? This is what Dave Pingalore, Local 6, said about it yesterday.
No, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I've not really publicly said this. I really believe that Coach Muschamp right now, as little as people will go, you're crazy by saying this, is on the hot seat. I would not be surprised.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Let's ask the panel.
If Muschamp loses Saturday, loses to Georgia, loses to South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. No, he's definitely in the hot seat. He's got one more.
I'm just saying, though, but they
won't fire him. They won't fire him.
I wouldn't surprise me.
And we asked him, would you go on the air and say that? And he didn't last night. So I don't think
he did not on the sports broadcast.
And I understand that, but that's his opinion on the show. We appreciate his candor, by the way, of saying what he felt.
I don't care what he does on their broadcast.
It's a topic of discussion. That's what it is right now. And it could change by the week. But tomorrow, we'll take a look at some college football. We've got some big games going on this weekend, including the biggest of the biggest. Maybe the biggest game ever played in the ACC. Would you say that?
They're saying it is.
Yeah, could be with Florida State, of course, a slight favorite over Clemson in Death Valley.
Which really surprises me, by the way.
What's that? There's
Florida State's favorite.
Yeah, that does me too still. But those guys,
senior
those
quarterback
guys,
versus a Florida State or a freshman quarterback at home.
Yeah, it could be.
First-year defensive coordinator at Florida State. Dabo Swinney's been there for a while. I just don't get it.
And your Hurricanes play tomorrow night, JJ?
Correct. At North Carolina.
At North Carolina. So, meanwhile, we got baseball. Busy sports weekend, so it's going to be kind of fun, as usual.
Baseball game tonight at 8.
By the way, huge game Saturday. Liverpool versus Newcastle.
Yes.
Huge
Me and
game.
Tom's clubs.
That's our two
Square
favorite
off,
clubs. They
buddy.
square off.
This is getting bad.
7:45 a.m. Wake up and have a cold one.
JJ and I may be in a fist fight in the studio
Me and
for the Saturday
Tom's
sports
club.
page.
Soccer. Are you kidding me?
You think that would ever happen, buddy?
No.
Tom adopted.
Well, it's
A
happened.
guy from Georgia Southern is embracing Liverpool.
It's happened.
Oh, my word.
The
What else is
Beatles,
happening?
man.
Oh,
Exactly.
all right. Well, thank our guests today, Keith Chartrand, also Mary Kent Gwynn, Mark Emery, and Andy Curtin. On behalf of my broadcast partners, Tom Schmitz, JJ LaSalva, Austin Statman, Tatman, I'm Buddy Martin. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.